dreams are falling down. Pick up our pieces that we found and build ourselves back again. As I try to let you in, we will be empty from within. The seasons change, we shed our skin until the sun comes to.
Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome, or good afternoon, wherever you may be watching from. And welcome to FTIU from the Ink Up number 97. A very important FTIU coming up as Ludi is going to be looming very soon. Passion, it is great to be back, honestly. What are your thoughts for today?
Not sure, but I'm pretty excited to watch whatever's going on here. Like, I think what we calculated earlier, like, it's been 60 something days since the last FTIU was streamed, so that's kind of crazy, but it's nice to be back.
Yeah, I believe it was FTIU 93, and that was when we saw Wallace the Goat defeat Vector Cry in a pretty convincing fashion. For that one, I remember that one. It was very, very fun to watch the stream. But about 2 months later, we're back for another FTIU, and this is, I believe, is the last one before registration. Actually, yes, registration for Leagues Under the Ink Season 17 is going to be closing on Monday, I'm pretty sure. So everybody, like, there's going to be a big rush. This is one of the bigger ones. 36 teams, as I'm looking at it right now, have signed up for this tournament. All of them probably have the same goal in mind, trying to get one more good result in to help boost their chances of getting a higher div than they are anticipating for this next Ludi season. So it's going to be very interesting to see, but realistically, only one team can come out with this win and probably break into the Division 6 threshold or above, possibly.
Oh, that is true. Whoever wins this tournament, that might give quite a big boost to like their Ludi seeding, just for that Div 6 range.
Oh, very much so.
The rest, it'll still be a nice result to like have anything happen today, so I'm sure everyone's looking forward to that. And yeah, I did not remember that this is the last one before Ludi, so this is gonna be a pretty important one for probably, I'm guessing a lot of teams here are signed up for Ludi, so for a lot of people involved.
Yeah, very much so. As we were going to be getting squared away for our first match, as what we saw, it was Judd's Toe Beans versus Star Cookie, I believe it was. Star Cookie. There's no plural. So looking at Judd's Toe Beans results, some pretty noticeable results. One of the big ones I kind of keep out in that sticks out to me is a second place World 9. Which is very interesting to think. Definitely want to trying to break up into that thing, which is actually quite a few months ago. So definitely a lot of time to get that some more good results. Probably I would say like we'll have to see. Well, obviously we're gonna have to see how it is as we're gonna be getting ready for, it looks like, Barnacle Clams for game number 1 here. Passion, what do you think the keys are to the game for either of these teams?
Right, these teams on this map specifically, very lockout heavy map. You really want to take like that top, I think it's top left, when you're pushing. It's like really, like, if you can distract the other team up there, it's like really good for holding them out, and they have to really deal with you and push you out of that side if they want to get out the lockout. And Oh yeah, when you are locking out here, it's like kind of very volatile. Like the other team can like flank you from the bottom left or and have like so many ways to shoot you. But here we are going into this game.
Yeah, like you said, it can be very lockout heavy, so we'll have to see how it is as, like you said, we were getting squared away from game number 1. Looking at the custom Jet Squelcher
Okay.
on the side of Judd's Toe Beans, and then we also see the Sorella Tenebrella and the 96 Deco with that Kraken on the side of Star Cookie. Some very interesting comps to see here nonetheless, as we see Weirdo already starting to paint for that early cooler. You always want to get that early cooler for any like some really big pushes, and especially for something like clams. The cooler, in my opinion, it could be a big one, as looks like Star Cookie is finding the first picks.
Okay, Star Cookie making really good space here, just already taking that, moving into the top left area. The 10's been doing a really good job of just like pushing out the space in mid, and now almost in their spawn. Sword does get picked off, however. The Kraken's gonna be really good here in this small space. Not able to pick this blaster, but they do have a lot of space now, and looks like they're about to score. The clam does go down. 2 go down actually. 10 just trying to shark here, and they do manage to get the ball in.
Yeah, using that tent shield very much to their advantage, and they get another one there to keep putting some extra clams in as well, and they do get the jump out as well. Very good use of the main weapon there, as even more clams are going to get scored on the side of Star Cookie. Ashes is up in their base right now, and it seems that they're trusting the rest of their team to be able to get any more picks. Here comes the Zuka from Sin, but doesn't look like, maybe possibly found the machine in the back, but the barrier has closed for Star Cookie, so they're going to have to look forward to getting some more clams to get another push going.
Yeah, and but Purple's still here. Ten's been doing an extremely good job holding this top left, just throwing out shield after shield, and now it's buying time enough for the team to get in more balls. There goes one. Hammer does come out, does manage to pick the tent. However, clock is still the basket's still open for the side of Purple, but it is just a Kraken now. Green team just have to find these last picks, and looks like they will be able to escape bleeding. However, Purple team already down to 33 in this game.
Yeah, very much so, and considering that only little over 2 minutes actually rather, have gone by in this game already. Taco throwing that cooler for Judd's Tobies to try to start getting a push of their own right now. But that tent is commanding a lot of space right now on the side of Star Cookie. Ashes, the economy is more kind of even, but more in the favor of Star Cookie right now. But Leon with this hammer, not finding anybody exactly, but being very aggressive with this Luna Blaster, is going to find one, but cannot find the second pick onto Weirdo. And now it is time for Star Cookie to push back up. They have enough to form a clam if they pass it up to a bunch of people, and there goes another score for Star Cookie.
Yeah, Star Cookie managing to push out Green Team really fast on their push right there. And now turning the ties, they have momentum, basket's close, however they still have quite a bit of resources. They have quite a lot of clams, which could win them the game over here if they're able to get picks. And on cue, Jet Sculpture does go down. The tent is pushing into the pit with their shields, super effective here. But Green Team's managing to hold them off right now, down to 26, but they do manage to push them out of their pit. Zap here trying to find some space, trying to paint up, let their team move in. If they can get, say, their blaster in or their machine in, which don't have too much paint of their own, they might be able to do quite a lot of damage. However, does not seem to be working out right now. Zuka coming out, stalling out the push, and still a bit of a struggle under stack here.
Right now, Judd's Toby's trying just simply, they can't seem to break through Star Cookie's offensive matters, but that's another 2-down situation for the side of Judd's Tobies, and another clam is going in. You did say the clam basket did close, but there is a lot of clams on the 96. That is going to be enough for a knockout if they manage to make it to the basket, which they do, and that will be game. Star Cookie, with an absolute dominant performance over Judd's Tobies to take game 1.
Yeah, that was Star Cookie was extremely strong pushing that game. I think the 10 in particular, we really saw a lot during that game. It's like doing such a good job just like taking space in mid, holding space in that top left, just being a massive distraction, which is exactly what Tent wants to do. It wants everyone to focus on it, and that's going to be something that um, sorry, I forgot the other team's name, but the green team's gonna have to focus on next game.
Yeah, Judd's Toe Beans wasn't really able to find like I don't even think they even got a solid push past middle that entire game. It was all Star Cookie. But now we are going to be looking forward to game number 2, which is actually going to be Ship-Shaped Cargo on Zones specifically. Very interesting map. Honestly, a bit of a sleeper pick when it comes to a Zones map, in my opinion. Obviously, my opinion might be a little more hot than others, but it's very interesting to see, especially with how Star Cookie, that tent, like they do have a lot of fighting power, but they also will have to make sure they keep up on their paint as well. And Judd's Toe Beans, they did have quite a bit of, both teams have a lot of fighting power, and it's really a matter of who can honestly exert more pressure on the other. But from last game, it was all Star Cookie.
Yeah. I on this map, however, I think Judd's Toe Beans might be able to turn the tides, because I did notice they have a Luna Neo and a machine, which are both good for fighting over terrain, fighting over ledges, and there's quite a lot of that on Ship Shape here with top left, top right, and once you push into the court, if you can hold that spawn area, that spawn ledge really well, then that might be able to win you the game.
Yeah, not only the terrain differences, but also any obstacles that Star Cookie throws across their way. We saw that, especially with the machine. We saw from their POV earlier, they were getting some picks through a splash wall, and not exactly wasn't able to get any picks through a tent shield, but it was enough pressure to possibly make Star Cookie hesitate a little bit, but didn't really see them hesitating a whole lot, as they just kept the pace up the entire game, and just simply Judd's Toe Beans was not able to keep up, as we are going to be getting squared off for game number 2. Currently a bit of match point almost right now for Star Cookie, but it is a play all 3. So Judd's Toe Beans does have a chance to make this a very much more interesting series if they manage to find themselves more. And we see the splashdown Jet Squelcher on Judd's Toe Beans. That's a very interesting pick.
I think that's going to be quite a good pick on this map, as like if you splash down into that zone or over the ledges, that might just find someone, or you can shark on their ledge. That's going to be quite good for the Jet Squelcher. But here you go into the game. The tent's pushing in once again. Star Cookie manages to find one, but here we go. The splashdown comes out, manages to cap the zone. Machine is fighting over this block, fighting over this terrain. I think they managed to pick one. However, Star Cookie's just holding their ground right now, and 3 go down on the side of Judd's Toe Beans.
Yeah, very, very good rebound from that initial cap from Judd's Toe Beans. And we saw that splashdown did find one. I believe it did find one person, but not a lot. I didn't see Judd's Toe Beans actually like painting the square a lot. The only reason I actually saw them get the first cap was because of Oni's splashdown, and Oni does actually go down themselves, speak of the devil. But right now it's Star Cookie. They're holding that top left, and here comes the hammer though. But Leon is electing to go chase down the tent. Does find the tent, but goes down to Star Cookie's Stamper as well, and more people are going down. They are unfortunately just kind of dropping. Here comes Ash's Kraken, and there's a cooler, but this time is ticking down really fast. If Judd's Toe Beans has any chance to find of their footing and get a cap in the zone, it has to be now, but it doesn't look like it's gonna be that. Leon is gonna get shut down. Splashdown gonna come out, finding nobody, and an absolute turnaround from Star Cookie from the initial cap, and they will take the series on a 2-0 lead.
Okay, another extremely dominant game from Star Cookie there. Just like really able to outfight Judd's Toe Beans like in almost pretty much every situation. However, what I am noticing though, perhaps like this is play all 3, I believe, so they just have a chance to show what they can do this next game, even if they can't win the set anymore. I am noticing like Judd's Toe Beans like not winning a whole lot of fights. This like they seem pretty reliant on their specials. Like I think you pointed out towards the start of the game, they only got the cap because of the splashdown, and then a lot of the picks I saw were because of hammer or such. So if they're able to coordinate and find picks without the use of their specials, then they could perhaps take a game off of Star Cookie right here.
Yes, very much so. A game to take off Star Cookie would be very good. Like, sure, the series may not be going in your favor anymore, but trying to get that one game could be the difference down the road if tiebreakers do come into play. But as we're
yes.
actually going to be getting ready for game number 3, which is going to the desert, we're going to have Rainmaker Scorch Gorge. It'll be very interesting to see what both teams will have in store. I'm wondering if Judge Tobine's like, will we see we saw these custom Jet Squelcher, we've seen the Cobra Jet Squelcher. Now the question is, for me personally, is do we see the vanilla Jet Squelcher with that ink vacuum?
Oh, I would love to see that. This is a very snowbally map. Like once you get down that ramp, if you have a vacuum to go with that, like you're going to be able to push extremely far into the enemy team spawn. However, a Hydra comes out.
Yeah, we do not see the vanilla Jet Sculpture, but we see the Hydra, and we see the Gluga Dualies coming out from Ashes. And not only with Gluga Dualies, they're running Haunt as well. I don't see a lot of Gluga Dualies when I play competitive, but somebody that's running Haunt, I mean, I respect that decision, but I gotta say, that is a very interesting thing, because you don't see it so often.
Yeah, it's definitely quite a unique choice. But another ability I did notice, there's Object Shredder on the Hydra, which is going to help Judge Toadbeans here a lot with the pops. However, they're still going to have to win fights. Purple team, Star Cookie coming in fast here, almost about to get this first check already, just 40 seconds into the game. And here they come with momentum. They have the cooler up. Booyah comes out, just pushing out this top right now.
Yeah, wanted to point out a very smart play from Star Cookie there. They waited out the Hydra's charge to get that dunk on the check. But right now, Judge Tobine's is doing better to keep them out. But no, here comes Weirdo with trying to get a sneak point. Gonna put some more points on the board. Taco gonna throw out that cooler for Judge Tobine's. And there goes Nemi. Nemi activating that Flow Aura. One of the first time we've actually have an FTIU stream with the Host 11.0, now that you think about it. And Nemi finding another pick onto the Gluga Dually. Right now, Nemi getting a bunch of more chip damage, but not enough to find any picks. But now Sin with that 10 shield, shielding Weirdo. Oni still sitting in the middle of the map with that Rainmaker, trying to see if they can clear anybody out. It's just Ashes right now. But no, here comes Sin on the side. Oni looking a bit alone right now. But no, it seems that Nemi is still going, keeping out a bunch, and they almost get to the checkpoint before they get gunned down by almost everybody on Star Cookie.
Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate push there. Weren't quite able to get ahead of the checkpoint before, or able to clear it out before they tried to push the Rainmaker. However, now here comes Star Cookie with a 10 shield. That might be really useful for coming down this ramp here. And it looks like they're going to get several points off of it, down to 27. However, two do go down, and Judge Tobine's just trying to hold them off here. Hammer does come out, doesn't seem to be able to find the pick. However, they do have space again. Two go down. Now they're on the DC.
Oh no!
Star Cookie.
Not what you want to see if you're Star Cookie, but there's a chance that Star Cookie still has a chance to keep this. They just have to, realistically, they just have to defend against Judge Tobine, which is much easier said than done. As here comes the Zipcaster from the Stamper, gonna find some picks, and no, Oni will go down. That is gonna be a denial of the checkpoint from Judge Tobine's, and there's the Zuka from Sin trying to see if they can get anything, and they seem to be doing a very good job keeping this Rainmaker shield not popped for the side of Judge Tobine's, and it seems to have worked out, and they can't get a push in out of it, and Star Cookie holds firm.
Yeah, Star Cookie's doing a really good job playing defensively here, just letting Judge Tobine's come to them and just slowly picking it off, and now looks like they're going to stall it down there in the bottom right, perhaps just hold them off for the rest of the game. Like that permanent numbers disadvantage now. However, it's like,
yeah, very much so. There is, I do think honestly it can be a little early. Actually, here comes a Flow Aura from Ashes, trying to see if he can get a pick on Nemi, but no, Nemi is going to survive and live another day, and he's going to be fighting the Stamper. It's going to be a very tough fight, and it is going to end up in a trade, but that Flow Aura is going to get extended for Star Cookie Stamper. Sin just sitting on this ramp very comfortably right now. That timer is running low though, so they are going to be exploding here in a very quick second if they want to try to push up anything, but it doesn't seem the case. But no, Judge Tobine's is going to do their dirty work for them, and it's going to drop the Rainmaker, but it's going to be a very, very tough spot for Judge Tobine's to get it out, as we are now under a minute to go. as we are still looking at the same. I'm pretty sure it looked like it was the, I think it was the edit Splatling from Star Cookie that was the one to DC. We thought about the DC, and no, they're still gonna get denied the checkpoint. Leon's gonna go down. It's just the machine for I believe it actually is Star Cookie. I think no Judd's Tobeans. Correct me if I'm wrong. But now it is up to Star Cookie. They're gonna take it back into the stall corner. Star Cookie, such a dominant showing so far, and it doesn't seem that like Judd's Tobeans can really do anything to try to bring this game back into their favor. But here comes a triple crash from Judd's Tobeans, but Ashes still stays alive for a several amount of time. Nemi's down there with that booyah, but no, is gonna get shredded. Star Cookie, down a member, no problem whatsoever, really, if you can think about it. But no, this overtime is still going. A Square is still getting a pick, and that is gonna do it. Star Cookie, despite being a person down for a good chunk of the match, still holds firm and takes game number 3.
Sorry, I kind of just threw a bit there, but wow, another crazy dominant performance from Star Cookie, even with member down.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see. Like I said, like down a person, no problem apparently if you're Star Cookie, and Judd's Tobeans, they will have to look forward to what is next. That was, I believe, that was actually Group A. So their next match, Star Cookie will have to face Seed 1 in this next match, and both of those teams are 1-0 right now. So probably that is probably the match that's going to determine who goes to gold bracket and who goes to silver possibly. But we are going to be looking forward to our next match here very soon. I believe we have it already set. We just have to wait for everybody else to finish if all these things are going. Because like I said, it is play all 3, and some teams are still going from the looks of things to the Sendu brackets. Quite a few teams, but most of them are all in game 3 by this point, as actually we do have the next match going up. It is going to be Dragnet Committed versus Intergalactic Bound.
Ooh, okay. I feel like I've seen Dragnet Committed before, and I think Kyodai is a Clash player, so that's gonna be quite interesting to see.
Yes, I do. I have played against this team before. They are, I will say it is a very interesting composition that they run. They run backless, nobody runs stealth jump, and they all play
Oh
a
my God.
super hyper aggressive style. It was a little too much for for me to handle when I played against them, because I don't think anybody expects them to play the way they do. But I think it is I believe it is Shin, I believe that is the actually no, it is Banana. I think that is a V-Shot one trick. From what I've seen. I've only ever seen them on Shot, honestly. But it is very interesting, like you said, Kyo is a Clash player. They also, I think they might see the Vanilla Dowser Dualies, because that was what I saw the last time I played against them. But we'll have to see what happens here as this next match gets going. Dragnet, also more of a open queue warrior type of team, not have a lot of results to their name. But Intergalactic Bound, also a very much a new team as well. Looking at their page, they only have 2 collective results as a team. Both of those being Milk Cup runs. Milk Cup, one of the newer tournaments running over at Ammonites Cafe, I believe it is. But it is going to be very interesting to see what is going to happen and what all the comp weapons, or like the comps that they are going to be running at this first thing. As it looks like our first match is going to be set to be Umami Ruins Splat Zones.
Okay. Umami Ruins, I feel like it's like a pretty volatile mode to be on. Like if you like, the other team can kind of easily cap one zone from their spawn, well, somewhat easily, and their spawn isn't like too easy to hold. There's like a whole bunch of places you could get shot out of. But yeah, I'm also looking forward to seeing all those crazy comps, like new team versus super unconventional comp. Like just because it's not like meta or something, like crazy comps can just throw people off like a lot in this game. So
Yeah,
Like especially
especially
with breakneck speed, like that might be tough to handle for some
yeah,
teams.
you do also like to see you see a lot more unconventional cops, especially like coming up to this level of competitive play. Like once you get more into the higher levels, you kind of like the comps get more streamlined. But it is always very interesting and very fun to see a very interesting pick. Like honestly, I was a little surprised by the Cobra Jet sculpture from Judd's Toe Beans that last set. But yeah, like you also said, I also wanted to go back to what you said earlier with Umami, like having control of the one zone and like, but you need to be in control of both because this is the only double zones map on the map list for FTIU, and it is kind of a lot more coordination needs to be done to make sure that you have both of those zones in your control. But honestly, and if you play really well, honestly, and I would speak from experience from this, like this can be also a bit of a snowball heavy map if you could think of it, especially if the enemy team gets control of that dome and is able of the opposing dome and is able to hold it for a prolonged period of time. But we're going to be getting ready for that match hopefully very soon. And like we said, we'll just have to see what happens when these two teams finally square off against each other.
But yeah, and I guess while we're waiting, I guess I can point out since like there are two zones in this map, as you mentioned, and they are divided by like, a thing in top mid, like a whole big platform. So a lot of fights are going to be divided. It's going to be a bit hard to coordinate your team on this map. Like you could be on either side. You can't really help each other from either side. But if you can take advantage of that top area, it's really going to help. Like you can shoot any run from that top area. It's really going to help your team be able to push. So that top area, usually chaos in my experience. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how the teams decide to fight on this map.
Yeah, I would agree with you being that part of the map being really chaotic, because not only can the fights be separated, but if somebody has control of that part of the map, then really they can honestly have a bit of dominion over any of the fights that happen in that middle area in general. Like you can like look left side, oh there's not a fight, but there's somebody on right side, I'll go help them. So
Yeah.
it'll be very interesting to see what these teams are going to do, how they are going to treat this map, with the fact that, like you said, it is double zones, and it'll be kind of a bit more of a struggle to make sure that you have full control, especially like you said, that part of the map, that top mid, that part sections off two of the sides of the maps. But honestly, if you attack it pretty balancedly and do it really well, then honestly, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah. I think it's a really nice test of your skills, especially for tournament like this where like a bunch of lower level teams are trying to prove themselves and break out. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting to see, and we should hopefully be getting to the match soon, because I believe I've seen 3-0s for in both sides of round one for a bracket. So yeah.
Yeah, also looking at this right now, Dragnet currently up 1-0 right now in their series, and Intergalactic is currently 0-1. So Intergalactic trying to get back into the loop, trying to see if they can possibly get back to possibly in the running for gold bracket. As we see the leader Tetra combo on the side of Intergalactic Bound. And yes, as we were saying, there is the Clash Blaster, and I forgot that these are the abilities that Dragnet committed runs, because I forget that Kyo runs Bomb Spam Clash.
Oh, and off the bat, two go down on both sides actually. Just a brush left and mid. Kraken comes out. However, the clock is ticking for the Orange team right now. Kraken doesn't manage to find one. However, Dragnet committed with their super aggressive comps, gonna come rushing back in right now. And it's gonna be interesting to see how they're gonna fight the other super aggressive side of Tetris and Viper.
Yeah, Tetris and Viper, both teams really leaning into more aggressive capabilities, and that's actually going to be a wipeout for Dragnet. You were kind of concerned about them, but now here comes Banana way up into their base, popping as an early Zuka, and I believe actually there was a double Zuka there, but now here comes the carnage from both sides to go down for Intergalactic, actually make that 3 and make that 4, as I say it. Shin's going to find that leader with the Inkjet, and right now in his Dragnet, and they're going to find another pick on that Inkjet. But to T-Tech on the side of Intergalactic is going to get another pick, and that is the lead swap for Dragnet. They are in firm control right now, but the Intergalactic took a big push off them initially, and now it's up to Intergalactic to see if they can get back into this game.
Yeah, and honestly, Intergalactic trying to push back into spawn. However, the Brush does manage to fight them out. 3 go down inside of Intergalactic bound, and it looks like Dragnet Committed is gonna have the push once again. And I think, as you mentioned, they are not running stealth jump. So if Intergalactic can manage to pick them up, it's gonna be a whole lot harder for teammates to get back in. And here they go. They managed to pick off the shot, trying to get into mid. However, Clash managed to pick one. Viper trying to fight on this left side. The Rush manages to trade it out. They are able to cap the zone, and Intergalactic bound trying to push back into the left side.
It is finally Intergalactic's turn to try to see if they can knock through this relatively short penalty that they have. Like, Dragnet got a tacky penalty of 63. Tacky penalty? What am I saying? But there is the trade on the side of Lara on that Octobrush. Probably one of the probably easily the most mobile option for Dragnet. But Dork just overcommits a little bit. Banana gonna find one. They're gonna drop down and try to see if they can get a side angle here. They're very weak themselves, but Dragnet plays very flank heavy, but Lara is gonna find the pick before going down themselves. This lead, all of a sudden now, Intergalactic looking to flip this lead from Dragnet, but they have to be very careful here as Banana is going to get picked off. That stealth jump really not working out. No stealth jump kind of not working in Dragnet's favor, and Intergalactic is going to find the ability to get this lead back from the clutches of Dragnet, but Dork is going down. Kyo going to throw out that Trizuka. They're going to find one person, and these zones are now contested, but it's still in control, mostly for Intergalactic, but no, now Dragnet finally finds the foothold in the zone, but Kyode goes down themselves. Velvet on this leader, trying to see if they can get any picks, but just unfortunately can't really get any good angles right now on anybody from Dragnet. But now they're 2 down on the side of Intergalactic. Now this penalty, Dragnet's already halfway through it as we're speaking. Velvet, they gotta watch where they're going. Very slippery ground they're working on right now. Jock on about half HP, and they can't seem to find a way to get a pick onto Velvet. Like twisting and turning and getting that pick right now. It is all Dragnet again, and Banana way in their spawn again, finding the pick on the hammer, and that is going to be another lead swap, and that is probably going to be, actually, yes, that will be the game for Dragnet. Very, very, very back and forth game between these two, but Dragnet comes out on top.
Yeah, that was an extremely scrappy game from both sides. However, Dragnet's just pure aggression managed to like just lock Intergalactic in their spawn for just long enough to win the game there. Like, no stealth jump, however, they were just able to, like, players like the Brush were able to stay alive long enough to just like distract Intergalactic and just keep getting picks in their spawn, just keep pushing them back, and even if they were able to be picked off, then they would be so far back that they wouldn't be able to take the lead back or take the zone back. I mean,
it was like almost to the point where I was almost considering myself, and like thinking myself, like, is this actually spawn camping on the side of Dragnet? Because like, it's seeing Banana go way up into their base, the Papazuka to try to like not only break the spawn armor but kill them through the spawn armor, because that is very much a thing Trizuka can do. And I've unfortunately been on both the giving and receiving end of that. And it's very interesting to see as we are going to be heading to Inkblot Art Academy, and we're going to swap out the zones for a clam basket as we're going to be playing Clam Blitz.
Ooh, okay, so we already saw that these teams are both really aggressive, really scrappy, and this is a really close quarters map. Once you drop into mid, like, you pretty much gotta fight there. And on the stacks, it's going to be chaos as well. You really want to take control of those if you want to be able to push on to the other team's side of their base. And it's going to be interesting to see, like, weapons like the Brush we saw earlier, like, yes, super aggressive. It's going to have quite an advantage on ledges like stacks and such. And yeah.
One thing also wanting to mention, we did see Jock from Dragnet playing that Comet's Octobrush, and I do believe that, and honestly, Brush is really strong, especially on Clan Blitz, because you guys have probably been there. You've seen the solo Brush always just running around getting clams and then just beelining it straight for your basket. We might possibly see that from Jock, but who knows what will happen but they're definitely gonna focus heavily on just throwing themselves at the enemies. Honestly, this kind of almost is like they're playing almost like dive centric, but not the exact weapons that you would exactly see from a dive specific comp. But you do see you have your shot, you have your brush, but it's very interesting to see what else could be there.
Yeah, and what else? Like they have both teams have like a bunch of what I would consider annoying weapons with like a clash, a brush, a wiper, a tetris. Those are all weapons that want to like get in your face but still survive. And if they can get on like say that top left area, the bats, just sneak onto there. Because I see a lot of players like to do that sometimes. This game is about to be chaos, but you see a Dowsers, I believe.
Yes, there is the Dowser that we did mention earlier on the side of Dragnet Committed. Like I did say, they are playing backlist, but that is the style of Dragnet Committed. And we see them all, like a lot of charge, like at least 4 mains of charge up across 3 players from Dragnet, but also the respawn Punisher on Velvet's leader. But already there's 2 down on the side of Dragnet. But also, actually, yeah, 2 down on the side of both teams. I was originally supposed to say Intergalactic. But there goes Dragnet, I believe, is Kyo going into the side of Intergalactic space, trying to see if they can annoy Velvet's leader, and they are doing a lot to keep them moving, and Velvet is going to fall to a wild splat bomb from the side of Dragnet, but now there's 2 down again from each team. Like you said, very, very scrappy fight from both of these teams right now, and the economy really hasn't been able to gather from either of these teams because of it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna come down to whoever can take these stacks, and the leader manages to get a pick there. Oh, not able to find the brush, but just the brush and the wiper are actually alive on the field. Crazy scrappy fight right now. A Kraken does come out. Oh wait, defending their spawn actually. Kind of struggling to tell who spawned this as. Players actually all over the map.
I didn't say this earlier, but can we get like some appreciation for Intergalactic's wiper? Their name is Dork Juice. That is one of the very interesting names. Speaking of Dork Juice, they are gonna find a pick onto Kyode from Dragnet, but they are gonna go down themselves to Banana. There's actually, also speaking, like there's some very interesting names to see here overall. But right now it's a bit of a scrappy fight from Banana and Lara, and Banana is gonna come out on top, but it is gonna be their teammate finding that pick for them as well, and Kyo is gonna find that pick onto the T-Tech, and there is the first score of the game going to Dragnet. I believe guess who? It's Jock running in with that brush to get the score. Still sitting under this basket, being such a problem for Intergalactic, and it's working out. They're down to 51, and look at Jock trying to be super aggressive, going for Velvet in their spawn.
Yeah, extremely quick push. They managed to get quite a bit of points about halfway into the game, but they got pushed out just as fast as they pushed in. So both teams doing pretty well in the fights here. It's just, however, Dragnet is just being a little bit better, coordinating themselves to get into the enemy spawn. As we see here now, with a whole bunch of Zukas just pushing into this area. The shot has his top left. This is going to be really good for them if they can stay there. Kraken's forced to come out to try to save themselves, trying to find this brush. Not able to. However, Dragnet still has momentum as the clam comes in and pops the basket.
But yeah, here comes Velvet with that tap shot. It is just a Dowser for Dragnet. They got the jump into bats, but it actually was enough to get that extra ball in. The lead is down. The score is down to 35 now for Dragnet. Intergalactic just can't really seem to get anything going right now. Lara trying to get here comes the slider, and that will find Jock, but puts him in too bad of a spot to actually get out, and it is very much going to be a pick. And here comes Dork with this ball, going to pass it forward to see if there's anybody up on the plat, but no, it is just all yellow players. It is just all Dragnet. They seem to be very, very calm collected, which is very interesting to say, because looking at, seeing from what I've seen with Dragnet, they're playing very solo-minded. Like, they're not playing, I don't see Dragnet, it's all one, anybody taking just on their own fights. It is interesting to see, but the fact that it is working for Dragnet, I mean, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. But the fact that they are playing very, like, solo heavy in a team game like this, but now Dork is gonna find themselves dead to a random splat bomb. Jock gonna run up, gonna find Kimberly on that another ball drops, and here he goes trying to find Velvet. He's gonna weave, he's gonna turn around, not gonna find Velvet, and he's gonna go down himself.
Dragnet just keeping up the aggression super hard here. Like as he said, even if they're fighting solo, like if you fight enough, you're eventually gonna end up fighting the same people, and if you fight enough, you're going to win. And that's what Dragnet just keeps doing here. They just keep fighting, keep winning fights, and keep putting the pressure as they manage to pick off the Reef Slider in their base. 2 still down on the side of Intergalactic Bound, and Dragnet just trying to play defensive for this last stretch of the game.
Yeah, last couple seconds. Right now, there's actually no power climb on the side of Intergalactic Bound, and we saw, it looks like Kyo was like popping his Zuka, trying to keep themselves alive. I don't know if it was a bit of a panic Zuka, but it didn't really matter. Dragnet, like, it always, like, it's very interesting to see what they're pulling off, but it is very much working in their favor, and they have taken this set with a 2-0 lead, looking to possibly make it 3 come game 3.
Yeah, this has been a really exciting set so far. Like, Dragnet's up 2-0, but however, it's still not done, and both teams have been shown to be pretty good at taking picks on each other. Dragnet just quite a bit more aggressive, however. Sorry, winning a bit more fights than Intergalactic Bound there. And I think as I said, just even if they're not super coordinated, like just the pure aggression, the pure volume of aggression will mean they are going to end up fighting the same people at some point, and that's just been working out really well for them so far.
Yeah, and we're gonna have to see how this is gonna factor in as we're gonna be getting ready for Undertow Rainmaker, or Undertow Spillray Rainmaker, as our third and final match of the set. Right now, Intergalactic, not right at this point, they're unfortunately gonna have to try to see if they can possibly settle for bronze bracket if tiebreakers are not in the question. But if tiebreakers are in the bracket, in the question, they could possibly make silver. But with Dragnet, the chances for them making gold bracket have just only gone up from here, and everything just seems to be working out despite the style they play compared to like your typical competitive team, but it's working out for them.
Yeah, it's been a really interesting style to see, but for Intergalactic Bound here, it's still like, since it is a play all 3, like it is still nice to win like that one last game, so you can be like, okay, yeah, we do have something against this team. We are capable of doing this, and that does help boost morale going into whatever next set they end up in. And if they can, it's also like good for practice. So if they're able to perhaps coordinate their fights a little bit better this set, perhaps, or this last game, perhaps it will carry into the next set, and hopefully they will do that here, and that'll be pretty exciting to see, as this is going to be a pretty snowbally map in Undertow Spillway Rainmaker.
Yeah, you can say that, but also can very much go in separate ways. I did actually just made me think about the most recent All for One. We did see Malibu Rising win a back and forth final set, and it was actually, it looked like they were on the ropes, but they actually did bring it all the way back, and they ended up like storming all the way back and ended up winning the entire tournament. But that aside though, and it's actually funny I mentioned that because it did happen under Rainmaker, but I'm getting a little behind myself, rather. I'm living more in the past. We should focus more on now, as there's no change in the comp from Dragnet committing.
There's a Wellstring, however, on the side of Intergalactic, and that's really going to be able to help them get pop here. However, I do see a lot of yellow paint on the map. Dragnet just keeping up their aggression still. Two go down, however, it is a double-edged sword. Just a Wellstring now, and if this if this rush is able to find this more picks, then they will be able to get a really good push here. 3 go down on the side of Intergalactic, and specials still coming out for Dragnet.
Yeah, I'm
As we
looking
see
at
the
Jock
cooking
here, and he's like seeing all this happening, and he's like, I dare you to try to challenge me. But Lara is gonna find a flank here. It is just Banana on the shot right now for Dragnet, but it is now the turn for Intergalactic. As you did mention with the Wellstring comp earlier, one of the things I thought was very interesting, Dork Juice is the one playing the Wellstring right now for the side of Intergalactic Bound, and Velvet switching from the leader to the Stamper, which is very interesting, kind of a bit of a reversal of roles, but with that still being said, it is still just all Dragnet. They pick up a wipeout, and Banana with the Flow Aura active, and now it is their turn. They're way up in the base. They have just absolutely no fear whatsoever, and Jock on this Kraken gonna go for Dork Juice, but oh, the Kraken ran out at the wrong time for them, and they will find themselves on the respawn timer for a little bit, but not before Dragnet can pick up some extra points again.
Yeah, this aura firing locked in their base. 2 go down, however, even without stealth, just keeping up the pressure here, still jumping in, still pushing their Rainmaker, almost able to dunk it. They do get it down to 3, still able to pop it. Zuko comes out, manages to pick 1.
Oh my goodness. It
Oh my
is
goodness,
just
able to stall it just a little bit longer.
Passion, this is becoming a slaughter. I don't know what else to say. It just they can't be stopped. Dragnet just snowballing, like you said, so much, and they end up taking this sweep. I'm still in awe looking at Dragnet's playstyle. They just have absolutely no fear whatsoever. They don't care if their matchup is gonna be kind of negative for them. They'll just charge at you anyways, and honestly, they just are continuing to just like it's like they're kind of like mech dipping almost.
Yeah, it's just like pure aura farming. Nah, I'll just win, and apparently it just works. But like, I mean, I did see Intergalactic at times like have good moments. Like, they were able to push out Dragnet pretty fast and pretty cleanly at times. However, they just struggle a bit to push, carry that momentum past mid or spawn. But they do seem to be a capable team, so that is nice to see. However, Dragnet is the pure aggression, as you said. It's like, it's super exciting and so insane.
Like part of me wants to say like, oh, part of me wants to slap like say like they're a dive team, but like that's not a comp for dive. But I don't know what else to say. Like there's like they play like a dive team, just not the weapons you'd expect. I mean, we were kind of talking about that earlier, but it is very interesting to see nonetheless. But it very much is working in their favor, as we are going to be kind of segueing into round number 3. Our next match will be coming up soon, but we do still have some matches from round 2, still only like kind of halfway through right now, so we gotta wait for those in the meantime.
Yeah, and I think our next match is actually should be ready about now. And it's going to be...
Yeah, we do have it ready, but like we did mention, there's some teams that are still trying to play their round 2 matches. Not a lot of them as we say that, but they are going to be working their way towards getting it. But now we are heading into round number 3. Like, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be kind of sitting here, like, sweating a little bit, saying, like, oh, maybe this probably will be a case where it's going to be a 2-0 team versus a 2-0 team in their group. And it is going to be the match that will determine who goes to gold bracket and who's going to get relegated to silver. But we will have to see what that happens, as we're going to be getting set for our next game here very soon. I believe, actually, we do have our next match coming up very soon, and actually it does look it is going to be one of those 2-0 versus 2-0 teams. In fact, actually a 6-0 versus a 6-0 in terms of match records. But it is going to be very interesting to see 2 teams hot on momentum right now, but only one of them is going to be able to claim that spot to go to gold bracket and have a chance to win this entire tournament. As we actually find out, it is going to be RIT White Marlins and Turn Left. RIT, one of the teams representing Rochester Institute of Technology. So definitely very interesting to see them here. Probably might see them in some other probably might be some CCA if you're more on the collegiate side. I honestly should get into the collegiate side more, being a college student myself, but my university does not have a team.
Aw. Yeah, CCA, I haven't seen that much of it honestly, but it does seem pretty interesting and exciting to have a bunch of schools fighting each other. And I do believe I have seen this RIT, like multiple teams of this actually around quite a bit. So that's gonna be nice to see again.
Yeah,
And,
RIT.
Yeah,
Actually, RIT did place. Speaking of CCA, when it comes to RIT did place second place in the 5th qualifier from the most recent season from Division 3 of CCA. So definitely having, but not a lot else that I've seen exactly, but it is but still not anything to really laugh at. But turn left on the other side, still trying to possibly see if they can get into a bracket position as well. Previously have placed podium in silver bracket for FTIU, and in the more recent, like a lot of podium places in like silver bracket and everything, but we'll have to see what they could possibly do. They actually did, speaking of actually more of a thing at turn left, and I thought about Ludi, because, you know, with Ludi coming up, turn left did place 9th in Division 7 in the previous Ludi, so definitely not a stranger to these Division 7 caps, as we're going to be getting ready for one map that I'm personally not a fan of, but I feel like I might be on a hot take compared to others. It is Humpback Pump Track Rainmaker.
yeah. I think you might be in a hot take because, well, as a Carbon player, I love this map, and if there's any short range players on these teams, it's going to be a really exciting game. As like the pushes here are explosive. It's a straight line. If you can just make it, get one clear wipeout to the basket, you might just win off of that.
Yeah, very much. That makes sense that you're saying that Humpback Rainmaker is one of your favorites. For me, I am a Splatoon Stamper player, tried and true, but Humpback being one of the worst Splatoon maps in the game, in my opinion. But we're going to be getting ready here. Very interesting comps to see. Ooh. Looking at the Neo Sloshing Machine, Nautilus 79, and then the Custom Wellstring and Dynamo from either side. These are meta comps. Never heard of her. Oh, never mind.
Oh.
Yeah, the Wellstring, the Wellstring on the side of turn left, and we have a Squid Party.
Squid Party.
Oh man, I love
Okay.
Squid Party's one of my favorite things to do, especially in the face of a DC. I always go for the Squid Party. So these people I will say, these people got very good taste.
Yeah. Looks like we got a bunch of fun people here, and yeah, but they did DC, but we were able to see their comps, and looks like it's gonna be super interesting here. Like, I believe we saw 2 buckets on the side of
RIT, yes, it was RIT. We saw the Neo Sloshing Machine,
and yeah, that's gonna be.
Oh, pardon me.
Sorry. That's gonna be really, really strong fighting on this map with all the terrain, all the ledges, the giant hump in the middle. However, on the other side, there is a Dynamo to counter all that. Dynamo is super strong on this map, especially with the recent buff it got, like crazy one-shot range now.
Oh yes.
Really exciting to see that.
Dynamo, very much a big winner from the recent 11.0 patch. And honestly, to the point where sometimes it is crazy to think about, where, in my opinion, there are times I've played matches, I face a Dynamo, or like on either side, if they get aura, flow aura, then that's just game.
Oh, yeah. If they get flow aura, this like Dynamo just like so fast suddenly, and it's suddenly like, what, you can just teleport and boom, this giant hitbox comes flying out of nowhere and you're gone.
And not only that, but also one of Big Dynamo's biggest issues is painting at its feet. And guess what? A pick on flow aura does that for you. It paints the ground around you. But not only that, but the side of turn, I believe it was turn left as well, they also have the Wellstring. Yes, there is, like we did say, there is the Wellstring on the side of, I believe it is turn left. Or actually, no, I think I'm getting things confused here. But yes, but there is the first pop already for blue, and I think it is turn. Yeah, actually, yeah, turn left is the team in blue here, and it is RIT in orange But already we see Crow going out with his Wiper. Ryan Drum not even sure where he's looking against this Wiper, but I believe he actually does go down. Here comes that splashdown from Malumi, and it is going to find the pick on Yeti. Very distant pick with that splashdown, but splashdown, such a, whoa, giant splash radius be upon ye. But as we see now, it's a bit of a stall fight right now between these two. There comes the Reslider. This Dynamo getting chased down. All of a sudden, there's 3 down on the side of, I believe it was RIT, and that is a wipeout for turn left.
A huge wipeout there for turn left. Now Cooler out, Bubble out. It looks like they're cleanly going to be able to get a check. However, this Dynamo does get picked off by a bomb.
Yeah, nice argument.
Super fast push there. And the Wellspring does have Object Shredder, so they're going to be able to pop this really quickly. But now, RIT doing a really job. Sorry, I forgot what. But Orange Team doing a really good job of picking off the players, managing to get 3 down and stall the push at only 43, which is pretty good for a map like this, where it's super snowbally.
I did want to point out, turn left used that wave breaker to help them get some extra points, and they kind of ran right into it because the attacks would hit the wave breaker instead of jump bar, trying to find out, but no, they get crashed down by Yeti on this Dapple. They will find another one. There is their flow aura active. Here comes the Reslider, but the pop will find the Nautilus, and that is going to be the wipeout for the side of turn left. Right now, it is very chaotic, and Yeti finding a pick way in the base, I believe, from a torpedo throw. But oh no, judges, I would like to police. I'd like to report a vehicular reef slaughter. Getting run over there from that Dapple, but Jumpabar able to get this check, but is going to get crashed by this blaster. They will find Aura. They're going to find more people. It is just the sloshing machine right now. They got to back up or else they're going to die to that Rainmaker explosion. And it is turn left's turn to take this back into mid. The Cooler coming out on the side from the Dynamo. And right now there's some more picks coming out. It's just carnage right now in mid. But that is the case of this game, especially with the ability to hit over ledges or anything that both of these teams have.
Yeah, this is going to be absolute chaos. Hitboxes everywhere. Everyone can throw anything over a ledge. And however, RIT here starting to push into this right side. Not much of a lead that they have to take down. They are able to take down the Wellstring, which is going to be really helpful once there's no explosions in the way. So Dynamo just trying to hold them off here. Rainmaker just manages to get the lead just barely. And there's a jump there. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to survive. And now turn left, not able to stop them from pushing too far. And now they have a whole lot of momentum coming in with Cooler and everything.
Yeah, we did see they're kind of dying to that Rainmaker barrier. Not what you want to see, but there comes the Dapple finding a way out onto the Nautilus jump bar. Here comes that Reslider. He's gonna find one, but they will lose the lead in the process. But Jumpabar does get that Flow Aura back. A lot of people have gotten Flow Aura in this game from what we've been seeing so far. But it's really just a matter of who can, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but who can Aura farm more of these two teams.
Who can Aura farm more, who can tap into flow state more. We love these new Splatoon callouts, they're valid now, so we're going to be able to hear that a lot more. And I should say that, not able to pick off one and use a splashdown to pop their Rainmaker. They're going to try to... Oh, sorry, that was the wrong side. They're able to stop the push there and just try to push back into mid a little bit. They do go down, however, but Orange Team does have 2 specials on their side, able to pick off one. Fights in mid just kind of being super scrappy right now. Viper able to get one with a hammer, able to get 2, not actually. However, 3 go down and turn left. Looks like they're going to have some crazy momentum with this Reslider. Gets 1, other one super pick, gets 2. Dapple's taps into a flow state. Is able to get this, but the teammate is able to capitalize, and looks like they are just going to run back all the way to this last check and get the knockout there.
This was just a game of who, sure, your big hitbox is good. Now here's mine. It was a battle of the Go My Giant hitbox with the Dynamo, the double sloshers, the hammers, anything, splashdowns, you name it. But turn left wins the just truly explosive, more literal term than figurative, game 1 of the set, going on to match point, as well as we're going to be getting ready for our next game, which is Tower Control Macomart.
Ooh, okay. Another super ledge heavy map, and I think another map that can be quite a bit snowbally, especially when you have like, you know, all those hitboxes you can just toss over ledge. If they're able to capitalize and say take that top left side while pushing tower, that's going to be that could be a huge push for either team, as they have so many resources to be able to sustain that push. And yeah, it's gonna be really nice to see.
Yeah, very much so. Like, both of these teams really are specializing in a much more lenient hitbox weapons. Not really anything, like, every weapon that we saw had at least some kind of form of AoE, in my opinion. We saw, obviously, Dread, you got Slider. Nautilus, Splashdown. Dynamo itself. Blaster itself. A lot of AoE damage, and it's going to be really interesting to see. It probably will make this game a lot harder for both teams, because you really don't want to get caught in the fray of those hitboxes, especially with the more recent changes. Also, the hitbox changes with 11.0, a lot easier to hit yourself in kid form, but also more of these weapons getting changed as well. One of the other big winners from the recent 11.0 patch was V-Blaster. And also, like, not only the end lag buff, but the I believe it was the hitbox change really benefited it a lot, and it makes it very easy for it to hit shots, which can also kind of lead to its own snowbally situations. But especially in a more team coordinated game like competitive, it kind of might not get its exact chance to shine. But we'll have to see as we're getting ready for game 2.
Yeah, a bunch of beefed up buff hitboxes is gonna be really exciting to see. And this map's gonna be a lot of ledges, but a little bit of a change, as it is a little bit less open, a lot more terrain that you have to climb over. And we do see some comp changes. We see a V-Roller and a Hydra with a bubble, both bubble weapons.
Yeah, not only that, but also the Ninja Squid of V-Roller on the side of RIT White Marlins. But Yeti already finding one on the side of the stack, and it's just jump a bar, but they will find the pick. 2 down on the side of RIT, and it is turned left for it gets the first jab at this tower. But we'll have to see how this will go, as they are already going to this first checkpoint, but that's immediately getting shut down.
Oh yes, RT able to shut down turn left really fast there. They were able to find space initially, however, they did not get in front of the tower just quite quick enough. However, 2 do go down in mid once again. Hydra's doing a really nice job just holding down space here. He's pressuring that left stack right now, or that right stack right now, and that would be really helpful if they wanted to push forward. And yeah, this Dynamo just doing super dangerous in mid, just covering the entire mid area with his giant hitbox. It's going to be a bit of a struggle to fight here.
Right now, Yeti with the Yeti with the Stamper jump bar gonna get picked off immediately after that slider. Very hard, like, especially if they had the cooler, they could have tried the super color or super color. What am I saying? The super jump tech with Reef Slider on the explosion. But right now it is actually 2 down. Make it 3 actually on the side. But no, actually, as I say that, make it for turn left. That is a wipeout for RIT, and it is now their turn to start making the push, and they have already taken this lead, and they will clear that first checkpoint.
I like what this pro's doing here. Just taking space on this right side, gonna be super annoying in this spawn. Two of their teammates do go down, however. The Stamper able to hold off the push just for now. Still pressuring this left stack, not quite able to find one. Their teammate does get an assist though. This Zipcaster coming out, gonna fight the Reef Slider. Able to get the pick, 2 go down on the side of RT. And turn left, coming in with momentum, coming in with a cooler, and with this Dynamo, it's going to be really effective at holding this left side.
Yeah, but as you say that though, both teams are going to go 1 down, but here comes Yeti on this, poking under these ledges with the Stamper. Such a dangerous spot for a Stamper, and that is going to be the wipeout for turn left. It is turn left's turn to try to get anything going, but they have to actually stay on the tower if they want to get anything. Yeti gonna die to a curling bomb, but will take out the edit in the process. There's still gonna be a ton of picks going out. It is 3 down again on the side of RIT, they're got a bit of a very dangerous stagger here on the side of RIT. And right now, Turn Left's going to find the pick of that Dynamo on the very side, and they are going to be clearing this checkpoint possibly very soon. But no, RIT is going to hold it there. They can't get anything. They will not clear that checkpoint, but they are still threatening with this push.
Yeah, this roller is just holding on for dear life here. Desperately trying to get the tower out of this left side. They do manage to stop the push, however, and now RIT pushing back, managing to get two down on their side too, however. But yeah, now this is going to be a really difficult situation for RIT. Now having to fight all the way back into the right side of Turn Left spawn if they want to win, and it's going to be really hard with all the resources that Turn Left has to just keep them out of that.
Yeah, right now Turn Left trying to do what they can, but Melumi gonna come up with this roller, but no, Yawati is that how I say it correctly? I don't know. I do apologize if I mispronounce any names with this Dynamo roller trying to get anything, but they're pretty weak themselves right now. They gotta be very careful with what they're doing. But now RIT is starting to push up, and their down goes 2 on the side of both teams, but right now it is Prob is on their heels right now, and they will go down to Ryan's Blaster, but not enough. With Jump Bar getting the Flow Aura, they've entered the flow state, but no. Yeah, I think Yawati's also in the Flow Aura, but they go down as well. Flow Aura, nah, you're not getting that Flow Aura, but there's so many people getting Flow Aura. But RIT getting a really good push in there, but not enough to try to get this lead from Turn Left's grasp.
Yeah, RIT just kind of stalling on that second checkpoint because the sheer amount of things Turn Left has to throw at the tower there, it's just completely stopped them in their tracks. Now RT on the back foot with just 20 seconds remaining. Turn Left manages to get 2 down. RT is going to have to come in here really quick if they want to keep this game going and possibly have a chance at overtime. However, it's looking a bit dire right now. Roller looks to be coming in to try to save the game. Doesn't quite work out. And 3, 2, 1, looks like, oh, wait, Turn Left.
No.
Okay, they do manage to win the game.
Yeah, Turn Left was able to deny that late push from RIT probably was making Turn Left a little nervous there, but Turn Left stood firm in the face of potential danger, taking this the game 2 and securing their spot in gold bracket for tonight.
Yeah, that's gotta be really scary now that, because now they would be 8-0 and it's just this last game, yeah.
Yeah. Right now, Turn Left, unfortunately, a bit of a heartbreak for RIT, just barely missing out on that chance to go to gold bracket, but they might still have a chance, maybe just to put a dent in the confidence for Turn Left, possibly trying to get this last map of group stage here. It is going to be Museum d'Alfonsino Clam Blitz.
Okay, this is a map that you have to like really coordinate your pushes on. I feel like if you do not if you don't have all the clamps that you need, if you don't have like all the specials you need to be able to take that plat, your push is kind of just going to stall and fizzle out in this map. So it's going to be interesting to see how each team is able to coordinate themselves and get into that tough spawn point.
Yeah, right now, but also looking to see what could happen here. The that drop does present itself as a very possibly high risk, high reward activity for anybody who dares to try to go down it. If I believe it was Turn Left stays with this roller, probably will see a more shark heavy weapon go down that drop. But you also got to be careful because there are people like, and I speak from experience, I am one of these people who will watch that map at the beginning of the match to see if anybody's going to try an early drop. So we'll have to see what both of these teams are going to do on their opening drive, and they'll have to see how they are going to take it from there. But yes, like we said, you do have to coordinate your pushes a little more, especially on a map like this. But honestly, both of these teams know what they're doing, so we'll have to see whose strategy works out more in their favor.
Yeah, and both teams still gonna both want to really win this game, because if you have that momentum going into their respective brackets, I think that's really gonna help you in your first set. So yeah, both teams still want to win this game, even though the set is a bit over right now. But okay, we do see some comp changes.
Yeah, we see Melumi switching to that leader. Both teams gonna opt for this Dynamo. And yes, here we do see somebody on this side of RIT going for that early drop. Nobody on turn left deciding there, but already starting to threaten. Looks like it was Clarif on that Frozen Splattershot Pro, and that is 2 down actually now on the side of RIT. Turn left, they're wanting this set to end now.
Yeah, I loved how that drop was looking. However, turn left just able to play defensively really well, and now with a clam and some pressure in mid, just trying to pressure this right side right now. The Blaster trying to make space. Stanford does go down, but the Blaster is still fighting on on the spinner area right now. They do have a bubble on the line. Manages to pick the Dynamo to go down on the side of RIT, and the Dynamo still pressuring right now. They have all the resources they need to be able to push, and it's looking pretty scary right now for RIT.
Yeah, Melumi getting pressured by this Stamper. A lot of people getting chipped by this Stamper's first bomb and a lot of other things, and turn left will get the first score of this game about a minute in. Very much earlier score than we've seen in some of the other games earlier. Yeti just trying to survive with this leader breathing down their neck, but they do get all the claims in that they are able to get in so far. Down to 65 already on the side of turn left. A pretty modest push, honestly, if you were to ask me. Kind of more your standard opening push would look like. But now it is... RIT is still on the back foot right now, trying to see if they can get anything, but Yeti just going to town, finding the Dynamo. Here comes the Zip, gonna find another person. Can they find this? Yes, they can. And they're looking to possibly get a fourth here, but no jump is gonna shut that down.
Yeah, turn left. And that Stanford is going absolutely crazy. He's still keeping up the push to go down, but they do still have the clamps if they want to sustain this. I think I saw something in the bot. Okay, they are not scoring, but they still do have RIT kind of stuck in their base, and they're going to have to put in quite a lot of work if they want to be able to fight out of there. The cooler comes out. They're going to try to move slightly towards this left side here. Hammer comes out, able to pick one. However, they do go down, and there's 3 down on the side of RIT. The Dynamo is coming in here. They have a cooler. Oh, 2 get picked off by a sniper. And yeah, it's just a bit of a scrap at mid now.
Yeah, leader, we also saw, I wanted to mention they had the flow aura too, but Melumi was like, nah, I am not having any of that. And right now, it's just Lepus back on this pillow, right behind the pillow. Melumi watching him like a hawk, but the hammer throw on the side of the wiper. And that is a wipe for turn left. What a hammer throw on the side of RIT. They've already brought this lead down to just 6. Actually make it 3 now. 1 claim will tie it, but they will need another after that to take this lead back. Jump has the clams, but no, not enough space to get in there, and it doesn't look like RIT is able to get much else. And it is back. They have to go back to the drawing board for the time being. Lepus sitting behind this cooler, just trying to block any shots right now. But Clarif with this Frozen Pro sharking on the side here, but they do get sniffed out by everybody. But the stray auto bomb from Ryan does find them, but it is actually 3 down on the side of RIT. Back to kind of where we were earlier with turn left having this numbers advantage over RIT. But right now, turn left doesn't exactly have the desired economy that they want right now to get any considerable pushes.
Yeah. RIT's push there, just like pushed out, and tables turned once again as fast as it happened. However, they are just trying to hold that spawn back again. Cooler does come out, so they have a bit of leeway if they do die here. They are able to get picks here. 2 go down on the side of turn left. Missiles come out, it's going to sustain that momentum. However, the Dynamo roadblock is still holding on to this right side, and with the coolers, it's going to be super fast, super dangerous. The hammer is able to pick it off though, and RIT still with the chance to win this game.
Yeah, right now RIT, if they get a power, we didn't mention looking at the score, if RIT gets a power claim and that is going to tie the game, and then 1 extra claim after that will bring the lead back for them. Krob gonna get picked off by Yaoti's Dynamo. They also have that aura still, and they are just still going and going with this flow aura right now. Krob, see ya later. And Yauti still with this, also with the cooler as well. Really just the flow aura, kind of a cooler overlap, but it doesn't really matter. It's a Dynamo on flow aura or just on cooler in general. It is a absolute menace to behold. As right now, RAT does have this overtime because of that extra power plant they have from Yaoti's Dynamo, I believe it's Yaoti's Dynamo, or no, Jumpabar's Dynamo, rather, excuse me. But right now, they can't really seem to get anything going. But oh, here comes a sneak play in the back. That's gonna, no, but they missed the clamp throw. But will it be enough to get that extra thing? But yes, it will. RAT snatching victory from almost a generational fumble. They will seal this game back, and but despite not making gold bracket, they will go into their respective bracket with a win.
Oh yeah, they gotta feel good about that. Like, I don't even see where that came from. Like, somebody snuck into the base there, and they were just able to jump while turn left was still distracted trying to push their spawn, and I just cut them to win out of nowhere. So even if they're not going to gold bracket, they're going to be a dangerous team to look out for in silver, and they got feeling pretty nice about that one.
Oh, absolutely. However, turn left with that 8-1 record will be going to gold, having a chance to claim a shot at the throne of FTIU 97 champion. Most of these other matches are getting ready to finish up right about now. But unfortunately, that is going to do it for us. We will be having some new commentators come out for brackets here. But before we go, Passion, where can the community find you?
I think you can find me on Blue Sky at it's spelled Passion but with a bunch of numbers if you want to figure out whatever. But yeah, but Electro, where can we find you?
Well, most times you'll be seeing me on Blue Sky as EJ46SPL. You might also see me on Twitter with ElectroJ46, or you just might find me around in the competitive scene as well. But that aside, that is gonna do it for us here. Thank you everybody who has tuned in so far, but don't go too far though, because Gold Bracket is coming up next, and you will not want to miss that.
Hello and welcome back. I hope you all didn't go anywhere because we are about to get into gold bracket for From the Ink Up 97. My name is Rose of Battle. So happy to be here on a Friday night just before Valentine's Day. And I am joined here by DHVF. How are you doing?
Hey, doing splendid. We got excellent edition of FTIU here, number 97, so close to 100, but we're focused on number 97 here today, and we got some gold bracket action coming up for you. Our first set here in gold bracket quarterfinals is going to be between 7UP and CeeLo Q, and I'm kind of interested to see what these, Div 7, Div 8 estimate teams have for us in store today. I think this is a part of the Splatoon scene that's often overlooked, but I mean, if you're watching these types of streams, you will see that there are so many good players at this level, and I'm interested to see what these two teams have in store for us here.
Yes, both teams doing very, very well in their group stage. They're coming out of that, obviously, both with 3-set wins. And 7UP is coming out of that with 8 out of 9 maps won, whereas CeeLo Q is coming out of that with all 9 of them won. CeeLo Q, also a team here where it looks like to me 7UP is a pickup, various players from different teams. I do know Lyco from the Crimson Raiders over on 7UP. They've also got Alibi, Hal, and Moon God. And over on CeeLo Q, we have full team roster. And is anything standing out to you, DHVF?
Unfortunately, both of these teams have no weapons listed, so we will just have to see what these two teams have in store for us. But I mean, I know CeeLo Q in particular, they're a team that I've seen around over these last few months. So we'll see what they have in store for against 7UP. But I mean, I think we want to take a look at the first map. I mean, it's a classic. It's one that we've all known since Splatoon 2, being honest. It's Tower Control and Inkblot Art Academy. And I guess, do you have any more general tips for this map? Because we don't really know what these teams are going to throw at us comp-wise. So yeah.
It's certainly a map where AoE, things like blasters, even Dynamo, even especially now, post-buff. I know our previous commentators were talking a lot about, we were seeing a lot of Dynamos come out for tonight's FTIU, and I'm interested to see if that's going to come out now. We might see, I see Jason over on CeeLo Q does play a S-Blast, Alibi on 7UP having that S-Blast, and yep, I'm not too surprised on TC Inkblot.
Yeah, like you just said, we do see that Dynamo come up for 7UP. But we'll see how that fares, especially into that pencil. Like, we know that Dynamo's been able to get a lot more cooler since it got buffed, but we will just have to see. As we see an early scrap on that far left side, results in a trade for both sides. CeeLo Q is going to try and push this hard a little bit. They're not going to go too far with it, but they do see 3 down. It is just Alibi on that S-Blast left for 7UP, hiding behind that right stack, moving more to the pit. Going to see if they can perhaps get out, and they do. They jump out. So, nice early win for CeeLo Q in mid there.
That was absolutely the right move. You're a lone S-Blast. There is a lot you can do, but you cannot paint for yourself very well. Better to just get out, reposition. As you see, CeeLo Q has not actually been able to get a whole lot of points on the board off of that push, even though 7UP lost several members. 7UP now starting their own push here, but that Civcaster gonna get taken out here. It is scrapping back and forth, people going in for fights. That is how they're going to try to get this map advantage, just try to take those fights. That Crab is gonna come out, is being forced to get away. They're barely dead now after living. Isn't it so great having HP bars now sometimes where I'm like, you're one. You're one.
Yeah, great defense by CeeLo Q there. It looked like it could have gone potentially ugly, especially with that Ziv getting popped. They hold strong. They make sure that pivotal second checkpoint does not fall, and now they're getting pushed on their own. 3 are down on the side, setting up quick on this mid decap. Gonna try and find the 4th. That's a delayed wipe for CeeLo Q. They have full control of bats now. That decap does go down. Owl on the do is going to try and find something, taken out by Fern and Jason. CeeLo Q is past second checkpoint and riding that tower well into the danger zone for 7UP. 7UP has got to be careful there. This could get away from them quickly, and it looks like they do manage to shut down that tower push. So, not the best defense if you're 7UP, but you're just happy that that tower isn't going to the 20s, 10s, KO range, I think, if you're 7UP right there.
Yeah, and especially that they didn't lose a ton of team members on that retake. It did get down to 34, but if anybody's played a lot of TC Inkblot, that is not necessarily the safest lead. It's not over until it's over, but 7-Up wasn't able to actually push that tower after that retake. They're still trying to take that space moving forward. CeeLo Q, I think, has been doing a very good job of poking in aggressively. At this point, whenever they get a trade, so long as nothing disastrous happens, they're going to be in a good spot, and they are getting more points on the board right now. Jason getting a trade there, and the tower is still moving past that final check. Oh, almost. Not quite past the final check.
They get to that final check, but not quite. 7-Up holding up for dear life. That's back-to-back pushes where COQ has looked extremely formidable. You see that S-Blast coming in, that TCAP coming in. Right now, they're going to try and reset in mid. This is Fern on the slash, going to wisely jump back to flat to get out of that danger zone. And 7-Up, with just 2 minutes left, they need to start their pushes soon. They have past first checkpoint. The first checkpoint does not really mean a lot on this map. It's really that second checkpoint that is the pivotal deciding factor in a lot of these matches, and they gotta get even past that. 17 is a very big number on this map. 2 going down, 3 going down on the side of CeeLo Q might be a good way to kickstart this push. The Booyah Bomb and Zip are gonna find their way into bats. Alibi on the S-Blast looking to find a kill. That Zip finishes it off for them. Looking to find a kill on the opposing S-Blast. That's Jason going down to Alibi. Alibi is just living in these bats right now. 7-Up is past that checkpoint. They are teetering somewhat towards that lead. Alibi is finally going to get taken down. Quick going in for a quick kill, no pun intended. Looks like they were able to find it, but not before CeeLo Q is able to push that tower back. So 7-Up, they finally get some positive momentum. They get close to that lead, but not quite. They're going to need an extra effort here as we approach the final minute of play.
There was a little bit of overextending from 7-Up that did stop that push from going forward and is going to delay their retake, trying to come back in here. CeeLo Q, I was gonna say, was doing a pretty good job. Things are in a neutral state at this point, which really benefits CeeLo Q at this point. But 7-Up did pass that second checkpoint, and CeeLo Q did not pass the third, so 7-Up can get another good push going in. They could threaten this. There's less than a minute to go. There's still plenty of time in Splatoon, as my coach is always telling me. Like, you still have time. Just don't panic on your retake attempt. And 7-Up now doing a good job poking in here. Alibi home, unfortunately, is going to overextend a little bit there, taken out by some splash damage.
Yeah, CeeLo Q has got to be careful here. Quick is going to find a kill, but just like you said, there's still plenty of time left in Splatoon terms. CeeLo Q is pushing back to mid, but they do go 2 down. You gotta think they might have maybe overextended here. 7-Up, they are gonna get a chance to push it overtime. Liko and Hao both riding the tower. Liko's gonna stay there as that dynamo roller, and we are approaching overtime here. 7-Up needs to get to 17. Fern's gonna try and find Hao in the bats. Hao's gonna win that kill. 7-Up is doing a great job of taking space, but can they finish the job? Hao maybe gonna try that rush that pen. Backs up to tower. The Booyah Bomb once again comes up in bats. Oh, it's gonna come right down to the wire here. Fern diving for that tower, gets 1, gets 2, and CeeLo Q right before that lead swaps clutches it out on their last breath. What an ending to this first game 1 here.
1 point! Just a 1-point difference. They were diving, trying to put everything they could to move that tower forward just a little bit. Everything gets so chaotic and frenzied on both sides. If you're pushing that tower, you're like, we're so close. We're so close to getting the lead. Come on, we're in overtime. We can't get off the tower. And if you're trying to take that back, you're like, whoa, we gotta go. We had to go yesterday.
My God, yeah, you mentioned with about a minute left in that game that in Splatoon, like, when you see a minute, when you see 30 seconds, 10 seconds even, it doesn't seem like a lot of time when you say it out loud, but trust me, it is. And I think we kind of saw CeeLo Q maybe get a little too over antsy. You saw them kind of dive into mid with around 10 seconds left, and them going 2 down there's kind of what kickstarted that whole overtime push for 7-Up, allowed them to get to bats, allowed them to get so close to lead. If it weren't for an insanely clutch play from Fern on that splash, diving from bats right in the tower and finding kills there, I think 7-Up ends up winning that game. I mean, Splatoon, it's a game of inches, it's a game that's played right around the margins. Like, lead can swap so easily, and I think those clutch plays like that do deserve such a shout out there. I think that was amazing play by Fern to salvage what could have been a really bad loss for CeeLo Q here.
Yeah, that was really neck and neck at the end. I think both teams should feel pretty energized going into the second game, which is going to be on Splat Zones, Umami Ruins. I have a feeling if Lyco on 7 Up can set up, assuming they're still on that Dynamo for this, if they can set up around that center mid area, it's gonna be pretty nice for them, so long as they don't get taken out by the pencil over on CeeLo Q trying to get over there.
Yeah, it looks like we have the same comp for 7-Up here, but look at CeeLo Q. They bring out the vanilla recycled Brella. That's not something you're going to see very often, but it is a dangerous weapon in its own right. It has a lot of killing power. It has that shield. And you're going to see it right now. Find a kill on top mid. Looking for a second on Hal and the Dooley's going to back up as 2 go down on each side. That's Fern there, formerly on Splash, the player of the game from game 1 there, saving that game. They are now on that recycled. Fish and Jason going to do some nice tag teaming there by that ramp area for CeeLo Q. Try and make their way more in the mid as we get to the early parts of this game.
And some good teamwork from 7 Up there, trying to take that left zone here. They've got eyes on that decap from CeeLo Q, who is still alive, gonna jump out at this point. The brush over on 7 Up did perish in that engagement. Things going back and forth right now, still in a back and forth situation, but with that cooler out from the Dynamo on 7 Up and several members of CeeLo Q going down, this is a good opportunity for 7 Up to get in. They're gonna get forced out by that Booyah Bomb. You saw Lyco just hop it in place. You're like, please get my foot out of here. And they are still holding here, so long as they can keep their space. Dynamo gonna get taken out, though. That can happen if you push forward up a little bit too much. And this is now CeeLo Q's game to swap around.
Yeah, Lyco on that Dynamo Roar is going to be so pivotal for what 7-Up wants to do. You saw earlier on that top mid, they were just controlling the pace of that game. Even when a couple members of 7-Up went down, they were still preventing CeeLo Q fully getting in. Of course, now that they died, CeeLo Q taps that zone, looking to get pushed out of their own. Although how on these Doolies, man, something to say about it. Finds one, finds a second. They have Aura now. They want to move forward, potentially going back to top mid. But just like that, 7-Up right back in control. I thought that could have been an opportunity for CeeLo Q to get situated, but how clutching out the fights. They're now going to pop this crab. Gonna try and chip a lot of people clumped up in that court area. Mood God on that zip also gonna try and follow up. Looking for a kill on the pen. They're very weak, but they jump out and the zip does recall. So no one goes down towards CeeLo Q there, but 7-Up still applying a lot of pressure here.
Yeah, but a lot of members of 7 Up are going down now, and they did expend those specials to keep CeeLo Q out earlier. So that means so long as CeeLo Q is able to push in together on this, they could take this back. There are no specials up for 7 Up at this point. Fern going in with that recycle Brella. The Dooley's right in front of them, though. Hal is going to take them out. Hal pushing up aggressively. We've seen such aggressive plays from them on these Splat Doolies, really taking advantage of that movement that they have. Moving and rolling left and right here. And now that they have a cooler ready, they're going to run in.
Al
Maybe.
just absolutely taking over this game on the Dewey. 7-Up just less than 15 ticks remaining to get this KO. Following Hal here, they're going to stay on that left side. Jason needs to move forward. The crab is popped from Hal. The crab is going to find the kill. That's 2 down for CeeLo Q. They need a miracle right now. Hal is going to pivot to the other zone, cap that zone, and that'll be it. 7-Up emphatically ties this set up. No small part thanks to the efforts of Hal on those Doolies, capping the zone, getting triples, doing whatever it takes to win the game for their team.
That was such a different interaction from the previous game. That felt pretty one-sided. I think we saw that in the score. 7-Up was able to, even when they lost control of the zone, and there were a couple times they used a lot of resources, I think they punished CeeLo Q very, very well on those pushes back in.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it earlier in the game, but I love that Dynamo pick for 7-Up for this set. You saw more of the Doolies and Hal taking over for the second half of that game, but I think that Dynamo is what kept him in there for so long. Just that constant presence of being there on top mid, on that high ground, forcing CeeLo Q to really play around the peripheries of the map. Like, I think it did so much for 7-Up there, and I think it's what ultimately led to that one-sided win. I mean, you saw in game 1 on Inkblot Tower, it was back and forth, both teams pushing, getting into the other team's bats, getting super close pushes that went very, very far, especially for a more defensive map like Inkblot Tower. But there, 7-Up responded. It was pretty one-sided, as you say, and we're getting into game 3 right now, the decisive battle. Let's see what these teams have.
We see that splash back out in Fern's hands this time. Maybe said, you know what? The Brella, the recycle Brella didn't work. It didn't work for that. I'm bringing the splash back in. We're gonna get some crabs pretty quickly. But Jason on the S-Blast for CeeLo Q going down very, very early. That is a power clam already formed and ready for 7-Up, but they are down a player, and it's going a little bit back and forth. How is able to get a pick on that decap though, and with that, 7-Up has actually gotten a lot of room to move forward now. They're gonna already score their first power clam only 30 seconds into the game. They're throwing the clams in. Everybody's setting up to try to keep this going. Jason, though, just barely able to survive off of that. The wave of dynamo paint coming down, but not able to take out some people from CeeLo Q until now. Now CeeLo Q is probably panicking.
Yeah, there was a moment where I thought CeeLo Q was going to be able to clean it up, but that moment has since passed. 7-Up is completely set up on the basket area for CeeLo Q. That Dynamo is wreaking havoc. They are going to have to back up, so this might be the reprieve in the action. Oh, here comes Alibi trying to score, but it's denied. Oh, that could have been devastating if they got it in, but that barrier does close. CeeLo Q looks ready to counter push. They have that crab. That's Fern back on the splash, as you said earlier. And 41, it's obviously a pretty good push for 7-Up, but definitely not impossible to come back on. If CeeLo Q plays their cards right, we'll see if they can get it. Fern gets a nice kill on How towards that pit. They were weak themselves too. That could have easily been a trade, but good job by Fern there to win that fight cleanly. They get jumped by Alibi on the S-Splash, just starking in the pit. Alibi is now behind CeeLo Q, looking for more kills. Finds a second. That's Fish on that pencil. It is chaos in mid, and 7-Up is going to take advantage of that chaos. They look ready to push again.
They do. They're setting up here, getting that splash damage in. I like that they made sure to secure that kill before they moved in with the power clam. They don't need to overextend here. If they can just stall time here, get some picks. If CeeLo Q is panicking here and just running in one by one, Alibi doing a good job backing away here. They are going to go down in that. But they were able to buy enough time, and some more members of 7-Up getting in some risky situations trying to throw in the last clams, but they said, hey, there's only a few points left. Just a couple clams, we're gonna throw them in, and we're gonna take this set.
Yeah, just another extremely one-sided game by 7-Up. Who, credit to them, after like the heartbreaking loss from game 1, in which they were just a single point away, they did not balk in the face of adversity. They locked in for those next 2 games and said, we are going to leave no doubt as to who the better team was today in this set. They are going to be the ones advancing to semifinals of the gold bracket, and credit to them for an extremely well-played last 2 games there.
I am excited to see moving on in, because those two games in this set were explosive for them. I don't know if it was a matter of TC Inkblot feeling a little bit weird for them, or if they just had enough downtime between groups and brackets starting that they needed a game to get back into the tempo. But wow, what a tempo shift going into the last 2 games of that set, being able to just secure the win like that. It looked almost effortless.
Yeah, and I think if we're going back to that game 3, I look at Alibi's flank all the way around top mid to completely catch CeeLo Q off guard. I think they were honestly the star of the show for that one, although, you know, it was definitely a team effort, but I think their individual plays, getting those flank kills in mid, moving past the basket, getting some nice kills within the court of CeeLo Q as well. They did such an excellent job there, and they propelled their team to the semifinals. So we'll see if they can make it all the way to finals. We will not be streaming their semifinal match, but we'll have to see. I would certainly love to see this team play again. They've showed a lot, and you know they've seemed like quite the fun team to watch.
Yes, off stream they will be playing against Crankin 28s to compete for a spot in the finals for FTIU 97. Elsewhere in the bracket, we have our lovely commentator hating friends at the emoji squad team of skull face emoji, neutral emoji, exhale emoji. Having to only having just started their match because they had to wait for a round 1 finish, where 5-4 encore went on. So they 2 of them will be duking it out to see who's gonna go up in that side of the semifinals, and whoever wins that will be facing against either Dragnet Committed, who is shown on stream earlier, or Vector Cry.
Yeah, should be some very exciting semifinal games that we have coming up. We don't know who's playing them yet, but I'm excited. You all should be excited too. And I think we are going to take a short break in between those because it might be a bit before these semifinal matches get set. But we will see you then. Stay tuned for Gold Bracket semifinals for FTIU number 97.
speak much at all. We don't talk about it all night long. Oh, not long ago, we were one team. Didn't talk about it all night Baby, don't you get it? Don't sleep. We're not tired. In our room where we had it all. When I didn't get it, you came to me with a fire. And now we're up against the wall. So don't leave me out of the thunder. You've got my number, babe, you've got my number. Don't leave me out of the thunder. You've got my number, babe, you've got my number. So you've got my number, babe, you've got my number. Baby, don't you get it? We were something to believe in. The love that everybody knew. We're on a narrow street. I'm not leaving until I leave with you. So don't walk in the water. Hold out your hand. Walk to the altar. So don't ya. 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 So you've got my number, babe, you've got my number.
Hello, and welcome back to FCIU number 97. I'm DHVF. I'm joined here by Rose of Battle, and we got some gold bracket semifinal action coming up here. And one of our teams is Vector Cry. They are a staple of the Splatoon low-level community. You've probably seen them around if you've been there. I know I certainly have. And on the other side, we have...
It doesn't even show up on the stream.
Their official name is Skull Emoji, like the actual emoji, like Skull Emoji, neutral face emoji, exhaling emoji. I'm not gonna say all that during the match, but I figured I gotta say it once, and I can only hope that they are a pickup, because if you are naming an actual long-term team this, we got a problem. This is commentator abuse. But despite their name, they have made it to gold bracket semifinals, and I'm excited to see what they have for us in spite of that name here as we get into game 1 of semifinals on Barnacle Clams.
They just want to see the world burn as I stare into the eyes of the flaming Elmo as their team logo that they have up on Sendo.Inc. for this. Barnacle Clams, it's one of those Clams games where it could be over in a flash if a team overextends and doesn't play the retake patiently enough to get back in. So we'll see between this pickup team and also Vector Cry. Like you've said, they've been around for a long time now. And I'm always interested to see how pickups do against established teams. So heading on into game 1 of semifinals. Interesting comps coming out here. I'm seeing some weapons that could do some pretty nice combos together. Dread and Decav could take some nice angles together. We've got a hammer from the Mini over on the Emoji Squad. And we've got Cooler on both sides. So we're starting off both teams trying to get some picks in, and that is already going to be the blaster on Vector Cry out. That's a lot of paint over on the Emoji Squad. Already down there in yellow. They've got Clams to pick up, but wisely, I see they're, after losing some players, holding space here. The pencil set up in a good spot. If they don't get taken out by that final Trizuka shot, and they don't, and now they're going to start wiping.
Yeah, Vector Cry, they win that opening mid-fight. They look like they're in great position to score here. You saw Stormy and the Blaster kill the pencil pot. They're going to get taken down that pencil yet again. Beige looking bold. Yeah, the slider's going to come out. Doesn't find anyone and gets taken out by, I believe, that edit there. Vector Cry scores a good bit of points. That Decav is going to get taken out by the triple splashdown with the Blaster back on plat. The basket does close, but the Emoji Squad, as we'll be calling them, not out of the woods yet. Absolutely not out of the woods yet. Vector Cry still has control of their plat. That one kill on base to get it there by Snowman might help a bit though. They're gonna drop. They have a slider. They're gonna try and move on. They pop the slider, but it gets canceled. Vector Cry doing a good job to hold mid here.
They are, and that hammer's going to be tossed out, not able to get a pick over on Cry there. They're going to start moving in here. That slider's going to pop a little bit too early to get Stormy, but it did make sure to secure that plat area. This is a great time. Several members down on Vector Cry. Our Emoji Warriors can start pushing in. They're going to start passing the Clams. They're holding some space here. They don't have to score very much to get the lead, and they are jumping in. That free power clam they got, able to take a nice lead here, but Stormy able to get a pick, and there are plenty of Clams to grab on the way in here while the rest of the team comes in, so long as they don't get taken out by that pencil.
Yeah, Vector Cry, they lose the lead there on that push, but they're coming into mid with some momentum. They're not quite able to get to the stack of the Emoji Squad as Tropical on the Decap's going to find one, looking to move towards that flat. They're going to get taken out by Beige though, but not more. Beige in turn gets taken out by the pencil. Momentum have shifted back into the favor of the Emoji Squad. They're trying to get enough clams. They don't quite have enough for a ball yet, but they are close here. Manga on the pencil, going to move back to try and get one. They're just one clam away from making a ball. Vector Cry, they've had some time to maybe recover somewhat. Oh, this Decat, that's Tropical again. They're going to move with the slider. The slider's going to find a kill. Tropical is firmly within the basket. They still don't have a clam. They do now. That's Manga on the pencil getting the clam. Stormy's going to try and fight to stall. Not going to work out. And just like that, the Emoji Squad, they're going to score again. It looks like they're going to get some substantial points off here.
They are. They've got somebody in this top left area. This Dread from Snowman holding this space very effectively, able to make sure that Vector Cry can't get back in. There are more clams going in the basket. They are down to 18 remaining, but they are going to lose 2 members of their team. The rest of them wisely jumping out, saying, you know what, we've got to... wait, never mind. Tropical's like, oh, don't... I'm actually going to hop back in to my death, but I am going to hop back in here for a second.
Yeah, no, that's a much more formidable lead if you're the Emoji Squad there. And it looks like they might even be able to build on it. They have control of Vector Cry's stack again. The slider comes out a bit early, not going to find anyone. Snowman on the Dread going to decide to jump out, knowing that they have a safe lead. They're going to play more defensively. I can honestly respect that. Vector Cry, they have a lot of work to do, but that splashdown way up on the ramp of Emoji Squad, that might help there. Only results in a trade, but Beige and Cry there on the edit and shot respectively. They're holding the stack. They're going to try and get the decap. Results in a trade between the decap and the Sculptors. Beige fighting for their life. They're going to have to back up from stack. They survive, but the fight is not quite over. Snowman's going to get taken out. It is just carnage on that stack. Vector Cry doing everything they can to hold it. They're not going to get a push that takes lead without holding that stack for a long period of time. 3 go down, and the power clan goes in. This could be it, although they have a long way to go.
They do. Oh, the pick from Stormy going to be really, really great. That power clan is dropped. They pick it up, but they're taking it out. There are more drops coming in there. They are desperate to get this. That slide not timed just quite right, but, the other members of their team were still there, able to shut it down. We have 30 seconds remaining. Vector Cry is going to have to get in another push. They have time to do so, but they're going to have to fight their way back through mid. With a pencil staring you down, that is going to be tough. Tropical does have that bubble ready to hold space when needed, but there are multiple specials about to come online for Vector Cry. We have the Zuka coming out from Cry. Are they able to get a pick? The shots are coming out. They are able to get an assist there. They're 2 members down on the Emoji Warriors. They're running in. Clams ready. They just need to not go down. Need to throw in these points. Keep it going, and they did it. Taking the lead just as overtime begins.
What a comeback by Vector Cry. It was not looking good at the conclusion of the Emoji Squad's last push. They got all the way to 18. Vector Cry wasn't getting consistent win fights in mid. And, it was looking like the Emoji Warriors, the Emoji Squad, whatever you want to call them, they were going to coast their way to a fairly easy win. But Vector Cry, they did not give up. They held the stack of the Emoji Warriors for not 1, but 2 straight pushes. The first push to get him a little bit more in striking distance. The second push to finally get the lead back all the way in overtime. Really good example of resilience, of not giving up there for Vector Cry. They saved their best Splatoon for the last part of that game, and we saw it on full display there.
I think I gotta think up more names for
I do.
our team of just 3 boxes.
Yeah, I mean, like the people watching the stream don't even know that they're emojis. They just see 3 boxes. They can't even see the emojis. It's so sad. This is just an all-out disaster in pickup naming. Like, to all the people out there who participate in pickups watching the stream, you can do better than this. We as a community are relying on you. Please.
Unless they're gunning early in the year to be like, what if we want to be on the Popcast Awards at the end for worst pickup name?
We do not need to make this like an award that people are competing for.
Heading on into game 2. We are back. No, we're not, because I was going to say that's not the grocery store. That's an art academy.
Bit of a mishap there with the maps, as we are still waiting for game 2 there. But I mean, again, it looks like we got another potentially back and forth set. It looked like that the Emoji Squad was in control of that game 1 for a good portion of it. I think they were winning more of the fights it made. They were getting quick pushes, more fluid pushes. They weren't lingering on stack once they took it. I think they were very quick to go from mid to stack to pushing. Whereas I think Vector Cry, they had more slow, like, developing pushes I think they really had to take their time with, but that ultimately proved to give them the win there. The Emoji Squad, they could not hold on. The dam eventually broke, so we'll see how they respond in Makamart. It's a different mode, but I think it's another map that it can be snowballing. It can be another map where the dam can break, so to speak. So we'll have to see how they respond here, as we are finally getting into game 2 on the right map this time.
Now we're at the grocery store, loading in. We have a different Dreadringer this time. That's going to be the one with the crab. Otherwise, instead of the Zuka from the splatter shot, we've now got the Tentactech with those strikes. Not too surprising for tower control here. Both teams have some pretty good weapons for fighting around these stacks. You've got that Dread, you've got a Blaster, but that is an early 2 picks on our box squad going down here. Vector Cry now taking their space. Stormy doing a really great job. You see they're holding this drop area. That Dread is making it a little bit difficult, but they've got that special online and able to cancel that. But that is going to be the end of that push here on Vector Cry. They're going to have to get out of here. This is such a small, constrained map that you see people can go in very quickly, but that also means sometimes they're going to have to get out very quickly.
I want to give a special shout out to Tropical, the decaf player for the Emoji Squad there. I don't know if you quite noticed it, but you did see them get on the stack behind tower when Vector Cry was pushing. That ultimately prevented the checkpoint from falling and allowed this counter push to start up. You see here, the Emoji Squad, they've gotten that first checkpoint. They're going to try and push the tower a little more, but that AoE from Stormy's Blaster is really preventing that. They settle for a trade there. Another goes down on the side of the Emoji Squad. And Vector Cry, they lose that first checkpoint, but still a very successful defense. Alex T there, getting a nice kill on the pen, who's maybe caught a little farther out than probably would have wanted to be. Tropical is going to go ahead to play on the stack. They're going to get snuffed out this time. Vector Cry is not going to let him get away with the second set of shenanigans there. Stormy forced another jump out. Keep an eye on that splashdown. They're holding it. They're holding it. When will they use it here? Vector Cry, they look to get this push started.
Oh, but they are taking out there. Enough damage coming from different people. More members of Vector Cry are going down here. And another pick from Manga on the pencil. They're getting control back again, throwing the Tacticooler out on that towers that is going to expire very quickly, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Can help them charge up for the next one, but a strike from Cry is able to take one member out. More members from the Emoji Squad are going to go down here. This is another chance for Vector Cry to move in. I would say this is still anybody's game. We don't have a strong lead from Vector Cry. And really, at this point, it's a matter of taking the space. They're down people, but they have resources. The Wavebreaker is going to go out, is able to mark some people. Alex knows, okay, they are trying to take this stack, and I was gonna say they're doing it, but Stormy, of course, playing a fantastic weapon for contesting that. Doesn't even need to have a great line of sight, just knowing, oh, they're over there, I'm gonna fire in that general area.
Yeah, they are looking to pick some space here on the right. They had the splash down, but they get snuffed out immediately by Manga on that pencil. Momentum is back on side of the Emoji Squad. Vector Cry kind of moving backwards there as their edit does get taken out on that far right part of the map. Emoji Squad, they are losing right now, but like you said earlier, it is still anyone's game, especially with that first checkpoint clear. And keep an eye on the stand there from Ray on the mini spot. They haven't popped it yet. They find a kill there on that right side. They're going to want to pop it soon as the lead is close to flipping. That pivotal second checkpoint is close to being reached. The lead is slipped. Ray doing a nice job to space out Alex T on the Dewey Squinchers. Here comes the stand, but it gets canceled immediately. All that build up for nothing. But still, the Emoji Squad, they keep pushing. They might have a shot to get past this second checkpoint. That crab is very weak, as you can see by the health bars. They're gonna just have to roll around. They run over someone. They help to run over a second person. Oh my goodness. Not the intended use of the crab, but it got the job done here.
Those are my favorite splats when using crab. I'm just like, I'm gonna roll you over. It's fine. And Snowman still doing a great job. They're pushing the tower. They had to relinquish tower for a little bit, but just to make sure that their team didn't all go down here. Gonna have to go back into ball form on this crab. They're looking to crack this third checkpoint, and if they do, I want to say that's basically GG's here. And it is indeed. This is now tied up. That went back and forth until Vector Cry couldn't get back in.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta think that the turning point in that game was that crab on stack. You saw it with that health bar. They were at like, I want to say like 5 health left. Like they were so close to die, but they just started rolling and they kept rolling and they kept rolling and they kept rolling all the way to the KO. They've helped to find 2 kills with those rolls. They get back on the tower. They charge another crab within like the span of like 20 seconds. That itself was insane. I think between the passive special advantage from the tower, just the sheer amount of paint that Red Ringer has, like the fact that they were able to get another crab, pop it on tower to help get past that last checkpoint, that is also what kind of ultimately delivered them that KO. So really funny funny, but also very impressive sequence there from the Emoji Squad, particularly Snowman on that Dread to really just propel past the more back and forth nature of the early part of that game and tie up the set.
Favorite moments that are good are the funny ones. Makes them taste even better. And, you know, speaking of Snowman on that Dread, and also, you know, also Blasters. I'm gonna say both teams have good weapon picks here that I think are going to thrive on Rainmaker Undertow very, very well. It is a map where you really have to pay attention to both sides. If you want to push that Rainmaker, you still need to make sure that you have, most people wisely are going to take that left checkpoint so you're not running face first into your opponent's spawn trying to push it forward to get some points and getting taken out. Really only a strategy that works if your opponents have wiped and you know you have a little bit of time to run it forward. But even when you're running left, you got to make sure people do have eyes on the right to make sure that people aren't gonna flank you and attack you from two different directions.
Yeah, we are getting into a game 3. Again, like you said, both of these teams have weapons that can thrive here. So we will have to see what happens for this game 3 as we are getting the zoom in here. Looks like the Emoji Squad, they're keeping it pretty similar, except they go back to that vanilla Dreadringer with the reslider. Same can be said for Vector Cry here as we are getting into it. The pop does go in the favor of the Emoji Squad, and the slider comes out quite early from Snowman, not going to find anyone, but teammates are going to follow up in the ensuing chaos, clean up some stuff on the right, finds the edit, finds the T-Deck, and the Emoji Squad looks like they're going to be able to push first. Stormy on the Blaster is going to get taken out after using that splash shot, and Manga on that pencil, they're going to pick up that Rainmaker and start hitting left.
Red is putting paint down here. They do have eyes on the right. They see the people. An amazing reef slide able to take out two there. The rest of the teammates able to keep an eye out. And that is a wipe on them. This is a really great way to get points really, really quickly. Tropical is going to start trying to get the picks here. The hammer coming out, making sure to carve a path, even though the Rainmaker carrier went down. It is such a good spot. The Emoji Squad is able to keep pushing this forward, and the Reslider pop coming out. But that is going to, I want to say, be the end of that push right there. Everybody else on the Emoji Squad is taken out, but a very early lead down all the way to 14. I'm not going to say that's a safe lead on Rainmaker Undertow, but you sure can play a different pace when you've gotten the lead that early to that extent.
Yeah, Vector Cry, they just get blitzed by the Emoji Squad. You saw the Reslider come out, you saw the Stamp come out, you saw a Decap charging up the middle. There was just not a lot you could do with the sheer amount of force that the Emoji Squad was using to go that push. And again, like you said, 14 is not necessarily safe by any means, but it's a lead that the Emoji Squad has got to be pretty happy with, especially as they settle in the mid. Unfortunately, Snowman, that Dread does get taken out there. Maybe a potential way for Stormy on the splash to get some momentum for their team. They get canceled on the splashdown though. That is most tragic. The slider does get canceled after use as well, so maybe that's a way for it to neutralize. There's a lot going on in mid right now. Tropical's gonna add on to that, finding a nice kill, and Stormy jumping back in after the canceled splashdown. They're gonna look for a second kill on Alex T on those two scotches, and they find it at max range. What a kill by Tropical there. They are locking down this part of mid. They are allowing Emoji Squad to kind of advance farther. We'll see if they end up pushing the range. It looks like they are going to push. They do have a big lead, so we'll see how aggressive they want to be, how far they want to push this Rainmaker. They're going to try to go right, actually. Maybe see if they can read for some more points. They get close, but they do not add to their lead. Bold play there by the Emoji Squad, but Vector Cry survives it for now.
Yeah, that was bold. It may not have been the best decision here if Vector Cry is able to move in and take space effectively, but I do already see a lot of our, we call them boxers now, our players of the empty boxes team did get back into mid fairly quickly despite going down there on that really aggressive play. And you know, some people live by the idea best defense is a good offense.
Yeah, Vector Cry, this is really the first time we've seen them possess the Rainmaker for like a prolonged period of time. It's going to end just as quickly as it started. Take it out, maybe going a bit too far on the right side. Here we see Tropical again wreaking havoc on the decap for pretty much this entire game. They're going to play a bit farther back towards the checkpoint here. Moving for that Kluger. Let's see, we're going to switch to Cry here. They're pushing towards the right. They're going to see if they can poke this edit. Or that midi, my bad. But yeah.
I'm watching these Rainmaker shots come out, looking, I'm like, oh, the members of the emojis are clumped, but no, those shots were not able to get them. They're able to collapse on Vector Cry. Vector Cry is wiped here. That is not looking good for them. They've gotten only 4 points on the board here, which is very, very unfortunate for them, but it's not over so long as they can get back in. No specials online for them just yet. That is going to be the Reef Slide getting a pick against Vector Cry, but now they're coolered. They've got specials, but unfortunately, there's a certain decab behind them.
Yeah, they just cannot contain Tropical. They have been a thorn in Vector Cry's side for the entire game, pretty much. They find another kill at max range. They've been living off those. They're going to dive, looking for a second, maybe even a third. Still, everyone is clumped up around there. The edit does go down, although to one of Tropical's teammates, not Tropical themselves. They get the bubble up behind Spine, and with just 23 seconds left, Vector Cry needs to think about getting the rain. It's just almost popped on the far right side. No one is even here. There's no green paint even close to it. The strikes are going to come out for Vector Cry, maybe as a last-ditch effort to try and get even close to that Rainmaker to go down. Everyone now is charging at that rain, and they might have a shot here. They're slowly turning on top of it. Just 1 second left. It's not going to be in time. The Emoji Squad dominates from start to finish. Only allows 4 points to come off the board, like for the entire 5-minute match. And they easily take game 2 and take the set to game point.
They are sitting at game point here. This is a best of 5, which of course means Vector Cry's not out yet. They're not out yet. They still have more chances to take this back. They are on the back foot, knowing that their opponents only need one more game win. If you're looking at how that game went, DHVF, what are your thoughts if you were a member of Vector Cry? What do we have to do to adjust going into our next game, which is on ship-shape zones?
And I think I see ship-shape zones, and I get a little nervous. I think if you're both teams, you get a little nervous, because I think it is one of the most lockout-heavy maps that I think we see for zones that are like consistently played in tournaments. I think that if you get wiped out on the opening push, or really on any push, then you are in for an ordeal to try and get back into mid. It is just a straight line from spawn to zone. You can maybe go into pit, but that's putting yourself at a height disadvantage. You probably don't want to do that. So I think whoever wins this opening fight is going to set themselves up. And I think that could work both ways for Vector Cry. If you do win that opening fight, there's less work that you have to do to hold on, just because the map geometry works so well in your favor. But I think if we see the Emoji Squad win that first fight and wipe out Vector Cry, then I think it's going to be such an uphill battle. That's a situation that you do not want to be in. So stakes are high on this opening, I think, when you look at ship-shape zones. And again, it could go either way, but we'll have to see how these teams approach it.
That is true. It's a tough map to break in on the retake, because you really just have to dive in. Not necessarily in a feeding sense, but at a certain point you have to go, okay, we do need to start pushing forward. And a lot of that is knowing what is the correct timing for this. We're waiting for our opponents to overextend as they're trying to keep us out. What resources do we have to move forward? What can we poke with? What can we use to start moving them so that we can then take our space back and not just run forward into the zone? Because the ship-shape zones is it can be a very snowbally map, so you want to make sure that you're playing that patiently. So we'll have to see what pace both teams go forward with on this opening.
Yep. It's the last call for Vector Cry. They need to win this to stay in the tournament and keep their hopes of winning the tournament alive. Let's see what they got for us. You see the exact same comp come out for the Emoji Squad. You see the exact same comp, or pardon me, no, you see the V-Shot come out in favor of the T-Tech. So close to the exact same, but not quite here. The Emoji Squad is going to cap the zone first. Keep in mind how much paint they have. Dread and Mini are going to be painting the zone so much. As you see Dread and Decaf kind of clean up 2 on that top right. It looks like we said, Emoji Squad, they are going to get the first wipeout. There's no one in mid for Vector Cry here, and thus they're going to have an uphill battle. We'll see what they can do though.
I'm sure just the massive amount of paint coming out against Vector Cry is especially tough for Stormy. Playing that blaster, really needing that paint to get around. Alex, of course, can, zip around on those dually squelchers, but they are taken out. Tropical getting a trade here. We're approaching 35 units remaining for the Emoji Squad. The Slider able to come out just to save themselves. but penalty points now applied to the Emoji Squad Warriors. Vector Cry able to start getting points on the board. Beige holding forward with that charge ready, said, get out of mid. Get out of mid. It is ours now. They're going to hold this top left area, dodging a hammer coming out this way. That is several members down on both teams here. Cry and Beige are just going to have to let that slide come out, but that slide puts out way less paint than it used to. Not able to cap the zone on there, but able to get some picks. And you know what? That's maybe more important.
Yeah, we see both these teams be able to get back into mid after getting locked out on a previous push here. So it's more back and forth, which is, you can't really say the same for a lot of matches that you see on ship shake zones. But these teams, they're fighting back. They are being patient with these retakes. Cry is going to find nice 2 kills there before getting slidered. Although it is just Snowman on the Dread here on this top right. They're fighting for their life. As you see Beige trying to kill them, they get a trade out of that. That's honestly a trade that you like if you are Snowman on that Dread Ringer there. It's Vector Cry, they're now 2 down. Both the remaining 2 Golmers have specials. The Zuga gets popped, but it gets taken out just as quickly as it was popped. Tropical pops that bubble into zone. The Splashdown's gonna come to shred that bubble, recap the zone. That gets taken out by Tropical on this keycap, which is spacing so well. Tropical finds 2 more. Tropical is taking over this game, taking over the set, looking for the 4th. Got it. Tropical on fire.
My gosh, just that quick Iaido sort of movement, just going like, I'm immediately finding the space here, coming in for the quick melee kill on you with this dash forward. The bubble, of course, great for sustaining and holding this spot. Tropical wanting to bait them to come back down into their range. Of course, that sword doing a much better job fighting when you're on that flat ground there, not fighting people up on that bunker. And they did bait the people to come down. We are getting close to the end of Vector Cry's run here if they're not able to cap that zone soon. Less than 10 units left to go. That is going to be a wipe, a celebratory wipe for Emoji Squad onto Vector Cry. 3 points for our box Emoji Squad Warriors, moving on into finals. And Vector Cry, unfortunately, that's just going to be rough because we know they've been trying to win FTIU for so long. They keep getting so close in gold bracket.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if like you all at home saw what Tropical just did. You saw them get the quad, and then we switched away from their POV for a little bit, but between them getting the quad and the end of the game, they did not die once, despite going head first into the spawn of Vector Cry. They took on the entire team, they got on their top right, and they still lived through it all. They were a wrecking ball into the face of Vector Cry, and they came out on top. They didn't even get a trade, just straight up clean kill after clean kill after clean kill. I don't know how long that kill streak was. I want to say like 7, 8 maybe? Like that is just insane. We saw their impact in some of the past 3 games, but I think this game, more than any other game, we saw the impact that Tropical and their decaf has. Just an insane sequence of events from an individual player to give them their team the set win right there.
Dentists love him. Oh my gosh, Decav's so good at holding space, being able to poke. We saw some great picks from Tropical on the Decav at max range, doing, obviously that's not a one-hit kill, but when somebody's already chipped out, you can be like, I can play my spacing really well, but then also doing a good job of pacing in and rushing in for the melee hit kill. And then using that bubble to sustain the pressure right there and just waiting for their opponents to take the fight to them, which is absolutely what you want to do. Retaking on that map mode, so obnoxious when you're on the back foot and you're like, we have to make a play for zone.
Yeah, spacing, like you said, is so important with a weapon like Decaf, and we saw Tropical make full use of it. Like, I think, like, the fact that they did not die through all that sequence, through specials being used by Vector Cry, through them taking fights at disadvantage in terms of numbers, I think it's a testament to how good their spacing is with that weapon, because Decaf, it has sneaky long range. People tend to see it as a frontline slayer type of thing, but it can definitely outrange you. It's close to some midline's range, and we saw Tropical make great use of that range throughout the ship shape game, throughout the undertow game, throughout really the entire set. And I just don't think you get away with a kill streak that large without having the spacing, like, technical skills to, you know, fully take advantage of what the weapon is able to bring you.
Yeah, because you can absolutely overextend on that decavitator thinking like, I'm just gonna go in and slice and dice people. And then you have multiple people looking at you and chipping you out and you go down there. So it really is having a good sense of when am I poking from a safe distance, knowing that like, hey, I can outrange that splatter shot and things like that. I can outrange that custom blaster. And when can I go in and wreak havoc?
Absolutely. And thus with that win, we are moving on to grand finals here. We've got the emoji squad, the 3 squares, whatever you want to call them. I don't even know at this point, but they're here. They're coming off a great set win in which they lost game 1 on a heartbreaking overtime push and locked in and won the remaining games. And they will be taking on 7UP, who we saw in quarterfinals, who lost game 1 on a heartbreaking overtime push, locked in and won the remaining games. The parallels are here, and I'm very excited to see these two teams duke it out in grand finals.
Speaking of parallels, both of these teams in finals won semifinals 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, that does not surprise me. We did not get to watch 7UP play in semifinals, but based on what we saw in quarterfinals, they are a very formidable team. You look at Alba and that S-Blast that we saw, Howl on the dualies, Lyco on the Dynamo roller. Like, I think we saw just how dangerous that comp can be, and it'll be interesting to see how the Emoji Squad responds to that. I think it's not the easiest comp to go with here.
And they'll be starting on Hagglefish Splat Zones, which is, I think obviously a map mode that a lot of us are very, very comfortable with, having played it a lot. It is a much larger map than some of the other maps that we've seen. This can benefit some long-range picks really, really well. Weapons that really need their teammates to get in can be a little bit difficult, but you can also set up some sick, nasty flanks on this map if your opponents are not paying attention.
Yes, absolutely. We are getting right into grand finals here. We see a similar thing from the Emoji Squad. We see a similar thing from 7UP here, as we saw in our past 2 stream sets. And again, we saw this a lot in Emoji Squad's last Zones game, but they just have so much paint with the Dread, with the Mini, with the Pen, even the Decap. That has sneaky good paint. And so I think 7UP, they're going to be at a paint disadvantage, even though they themselves have some weapons that can with the paint a little bit, but definitely not to the degree that the Emoji Squad can.
Yeah, this does mean that they're going to have to play their engagements very carefully in terms of knowing their spacing. They did lose Howl on the dualies there earlier, who's trying to go in for a flank, got called out. Still, we're about almost halfway down the zones points left to go for the Emoji Squad. A lot of paint going back and forth here. They still have control here. Howl trying to get in. They're about half health. They're going to wait for half a second. Down to 1 health again. The hammer coming out, taking people down, getting a nice hammer throw there. They see the Dynamo. They're able to work with the rest of their team, take them out. Ray's still holding this. They know they don't have to hold the zone right now. It's okay. They can take some penalty points here. What is important is making 7UP expend some resources right now. Moon God pushing forward with that Zipcaster from the brush, not able to get any picks, is taken out themselves. Tropical and the Decavs starting to go in again. Ray trying to set up a flank here, but Howl did see them. They're having a little 1v1 back here. Howl says, never mind, I don't want to do this engagement. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go join the rest of my team. But we should note that there is a hammer online from that Mini ready to go at this point, even though a lot of people have gone down.
Yeah, we're going to see the hammer pop right now. It rushes through zone. It looks to still maybe get a kill with the throw. Looking for Lyco, doesn't find the kill, but that hammer did get value. It does allow the Emoji Squad to recap this zone here. They don't have too big of a penalty. 30 ticks is not that long, and Tropical, they get that bubble set up on a pivotal position on ramp. 2 go down all the way behind. Howl's gonna go in the zone. That's a 3rd down on the side of 7UP. That's a full wipeout on the side of 7UP, and time is running out. That penalty is going to be completely through very imminently. Tropical is still all the way on the plat on the far left side. They're gonna jump back to mid now, but they distracted 7UP long enough where they gotta go now. Here comes the crab, here comes the zip. The hammer from Emoji Squad is gonna come respond, and that's gonna help take out both of them. 2 go down, 7UP, 3 go down. It's just the booyah on that S-Blast that's left in mid. It's not gonna come out in time. Emoji Squad, they held that zone quite well, and they take a pretty convincing 1-0 lead on 7-Up in our first game here in Grand Finals.
Great move from Tropical, pulling attention in one direction and then getting out of there. I mean, like, I was just gonna pull you this direction, and I'm playing my life. I'm gonna make sure that our team stays alive here because all we have to do is maintain zone here. We don't have to be panicked about this. We know our opponents are going to be the ones really panicking to get back in. And I mean, I only point it out because I do it myself. That's when I go, oh, yeah, oops.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to the pain advantage that the Emoji Squad has here with the Dread, with the Mini, with the Pen. I think all of those weapons kind of lead to a point where, like, if they just have 4 people versus 4 people in mid, then they're always going to cap the zone there. It forces 7-Up into a kind of interesting spot where they need to get kills if they want to ever cap the zone, which I think in turn makes them make some moves, maybe more that are more panicky, that are more, like, risky. I think the paint advantage that the Emoji Squad has really forces 7-Up to kind of just get more out of their comfort zone, go for more risky plays, and I think those risky plays all kind of backfired on them for that first game. I think that paint advantage isn't going to be as stated as we get away from the non-splat zones, but from splat zones go to tower control here on Ship, but I think it is something worth noting because I think it is making these fights very hard for 7-Up, and the Emoji Squad, credit to them, they're playing to their strengths of their comp quite well here.
They are, and you know, if you've got things painted, and especially if the other team doesn't have people who are sharking a lot, and especially sharking in really, really important areas to leap out on and take advantage of, if you've got an area painted, you know that that's your territory, that quite literally is your turf. And you control that, and you know what amount of space you have, so even outside of zones, having a paint advantage can be really, really good, so long as your teammates know how to take advantage of that. Make sure they don't overextend, make sure they're playing that quite well. I was very, very impressed seeing all of the players of the Emoji Squad making sure not to overextend on that final hold on Haggle. Manga's been doing a great job of holding here on that pencil. I've heard from pencil players that the retake on Ship can be really annoying and tough. But if they're able to hold a neutral state, not ever be in a super disadvantage, maybe that doesn't matter.
Yep. Only comp change between both of these two teams is going from the Vanilla Dread to the new-ish Crab Dread here, as you see Snowman switch like they did on tower control in their last set. But, you know, we know these comps, we know that all these players are good with these weapons. Keep an eye on Moon God on that Octopus. They're going to try and get a round, even though their team is 2 down. And they get stuffed out immediately. The Emoji Squad took my words to heart, and they kept an eye on Moon God there.
They said, oh, okay, yeah, we hear you. We hear you, DHVF. We see Moon God trying to get set up the flank there. We're going to take them out. We're going to punish that. And now we've got some fights in pit here. Snowman able to get a wave of ink from that Dynamo straight in their face. Tropical skirmishing it out is going to have to reposition here. Able to do so very quickly thanks to that cooler and making those quick jumps. And they're still alive. Tropical's been playing very, very well. And we saw them play this map, different mode, very well before. They are taken out now. Lyco might be able to get that jump really effectively with that Dynamo, able to take this back now. That cooler is out. We've got numbers up on 7-Up. They're able to get a trade on Ray. If Alibi can keep holding this without going too far up, they're holding that Booyah just for a moment, but they are taken out. Tropical did see them and said, nope, you held that just a little bit too long with nobody to help you, so I'm going to take that out. But that tower's not done moving yet. Unfortunately, a lot of that paint is orange, just forcing 7-Up out. Mooncat doing everything they can to try to just get past that first checkpoint, but that is going to be stopped for now.
Yeah, you saw when Tower was at that checkpoint, it was under fire from pretty much everything. The decaf climbing up on the pit, the Crab was out, the Pen was shooting at it, the Mini was shooting at it. Just a barrage of ink just flying towards the tower. And it allows the Emoji Squad to get their counter push set quite well. 2 are down, the bubble got set. Manga finds a beautiful kill in mid. I did not even know how they found that person there. They were just sharking the ink, but they kill him right before they could even react. You see one person, I believe that's How on the dualies, drop to that left pit. They're going to get traded out. The tower objective timer is ticking down as the Emoji Squad seems to get towards this second checkpoint. The hammer comes out. It's going to rush to the top right. It's weak. It finds 2 with the throw. Ray with that hammer. They were very weak themselves, but they throw it in time and they find 2. Emoji Squad, they are through the checkpoint. They are barreling towards the KO, and it looks like they will get there. That's a 2-0 lead for the Emoji Squad as they take another dominant game here in which they just look like a phenomenal, well-oiled unit of a team.
That Ultra Stam coming out where it did, taking that really important spot in the top right. Surviving, we saw how little health they had there. It was so low. I am certain it was below 10 HP remaining. Able to stay alive long enough to see a couple members rushing in that area and just a really giant explosion from that hammer throw, able to take it and make sure that that tower push could keep happening, because when you get past that final check on ship-shaped tower control, it feels like a GG.
Yeah, if you can't hold that top left as a defending team by that second checkpoint on ship-shaped tower, you're going to have some problems. And I think 7UP, they were in the right positions. I think they just got jumped by the hammer and couldn't quite finish the kill. I think we're looking at maybe not a totally different game, but certainly a different game if they managed to kill that hammer before the throw takes out 2 of them, because they were on that top left. They were where they needed to be, just got overwhelmed and couldn't find the kill at the end. Allows the Emoji Squad to cruise to that KO. But, I mean, I think if you are 7UP, like, obviously you're at game point here. Now you need to win this next game, the game after that, and the game after that if you want a chance of winning this tournament. And even though these 2 games have been relatively one-sided, I think you still gotta go in with hope. You still gotta go in with these last 2 games kind of remaining, like, pretty unaffected within your minds almost. You gotta just forget it, move on, try and improve in the middle of the set, and see what happens from there.
Yeah, you know what? As long as the match is not over, you still have time to win. Yes, you do have to reverse sweep it, but if you're able to look back and make some adjustments, and really, you're forced to you gotta make them now. You don't really have any more wiggle room, but you still have a chance. There's always a chance.
There's always a chance, and really all it takes is 1 game for the momentum just completely shift. I think, you know, let's say hypothetically 7UP, they win this Umami Clams game. All of a sudden, 2-1. 2-1 is a lot more manageable than 2-0. I know it's just 1 game, but the momentum of it, like, it feels like a lot more than 1 game. Momentum is a very real thing. It affects sets. It affects real-life sporting events. And I think if 7UP can just hold on for this 1 game, we're looking at a brand new set. We'll have to see how they respond there, because, I mean, the Emoji Squad, they are relentless. If you look at them in these first 2 games, they have played almost to perfection. They're maximizing every strength their comp. Their decaf player is just soloing everybody. It doesn't seem like anyone can stop them in this moment. And I mean, like, it feels like they're heading towards an FTIU first place here. We'll have to see if they can finish it off. I mean, we've seen teams get here and not able to finish the job. They can't get too complacent here, but at the same time, you got to think that they are playing at their peaks at the exact right time right now.
Yeah, Manga's been playing a very aggressive game on Pen. I mean, they know so long as they don't overextend too far, they have been the longest range player in both of these games so far, and that seems likely to continue. I don't think 7UP is pulling out a leader. I'm pretty sure our Dynamo is sticking Dynamo. So there are certain things that you know you can get away with on Pen because you're winning the range matchup. Sometimes you can move a little bit more forward, and you don't have to play super safe. You want to play safe, but you don't have to be super backed up. We saw Manga in that last game oftentimes was not even on the tower. I remember at one point they were pushing that top left area through the grates, and I was watching that being like, whoa, they are going forward. And I wouldn't say that's the correct thing to do in every circumstance, but I think they saw, they're not pushing this area very well, so I can definitely attack from this different angle, and then we can get some crossfire going on. It worked really well.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at this level of Splatoon, when you look at low level as a whole, and you look at the pen players there, you're gonna see some teams where they have pen players who they get their coolers, they get paint up, they get chip damage here and there, but they're not truly threats. Like, you don't react to them in the same way you'd react to a leader, where they can't consistently get those kills. I can safely say that Manga is not one of those players. They are a threat to be reckoned with here. They are finding those quick kills, those kills that almost make you think that Pen looks like a one-shot if you squint hard enough. Like, they are a force to be reckoned with. Like you said, they're taking aggressive positions. They are allowing themselves to poke very, very far into, like, spots where you don't really see Pen players at low level poking. I think, like, there's a potential for 7-Up to be caught off guard by these positions that Manga is taking with this pencil and just simply not react in time. Combine that with their great aim, and I mean, I think you got a recipe for success with the Manga and for what the Emoji Squad is cooking up here.
One of my favorite callouts to do when I'm playing against a pen is like, guys, this pen knows how to aim.
Exactly.
Be careful.
That's very real, especially in like FTIU low level as a whole. Like, there's a wide variety because, you know, everyone likes having a pen in their comp. You know, it's like, oh yeah, just fix the pen. We need a cooler. We need a backline. Just throw it in there. You know, not everyone is suited for it. But when you come across players like Manga who are truly suited for this weapon, who can really make the most of all the strength stats to offer, that has seen the weapon itself be such a staple of top level play, it is truly a sight to watch, and we have seen it within these last 2 games with the previous set. It's just amazing to watch here.
We're readying up for this next game. We had a short little break. We had to settle something for a player, but all is good. Moving on in. And we are at match point in finals for FTIU 97. Emoji Squad is at their set point going into Umami Clam. 7-Up having to move forward if they want to finish first. They do need to reverse sweep it. And of course, we still have that Dynamo. We still have the pen. And we're just going to have to see how it goes. You know, this is not necessarily a bad Dynamo map. Dynamo can get away with a lot of nice things here. But if Manga sets up angles really, really well, it might be very difficult for Lyco to get in, especially if their teammates are going down. They're the only one there at this point. They were charging up that cooler really quickly. They're holding a pretty good spot on this corner of the dome while the rest of their team is getting back in, making sure that the Emoji Squad couldn't actually go in and score yet. But, of course, they had plenty of time to set up and get clams to get ready for this push.
Yeah, that bubble setup in a very dangerous place. That slider is going to a very dangerous place. That's going to help get 2 down on the side 7-Up. 2 go down also on the side of the Emoji Squad, but not before his second ball comes in. Alibi on the S-Boss going to look to clean things up. Going to try from the top mid, but they get taken out by Ray Ray. Nice kill, dropping from top mid below, getting the mid-air kill. Ruga popping the zip, maybe a bit early, finds a trade, but I don't know if that's what you want right now if you're 7-Up. You want to be getting these clean kills so that you can counter push quickly, but it does not look like counter push is going to manifest anytime soon with Manga watching top mid here, ever vigilantly. Like, 7-Up, they can't really go to their dome because Manga's there. They can't really go too far in front of Best because Manga's watching there. Even now, Manga's chipping the people. They have to go all the way back in zone, and the slider comes out. It's going to find one. That's a delayed 3 down. It's just Rugan running in. They're going to kill the stamp somehow. I thought they were dead for sure, but it's not going to stop the Emoji Squad. They are pouring these points into the basket, and finally, 7-Up, the bleeding stops. They can finally get back into mid, but once again, they're staring down the barrel of a very large lead here.
They were able to get into mid very, very quickly because so many members on the Emoji Squad did go down here. They have lost their dualies. Alibi wants to save that power clan, but they do go down there. Snowman guarding that basket, and they have taken mid right back. I think 7-Up just was getting a little antsy to get points on the board and got called out. Got completely reversed trying to set that up. And now the Emoji Squad can start setting up for another push, or even they don't even have to necessarily score. They can just keep threatening at this point, and they are threatening it indeed. A lot of them going down here. Snowman able to get some picks before they go down as well. Alibi is alone right here. Just a lone S-Blast against the world, able to force some members back, but they have not taken mid back yet.
Yeah, 7-Up, they're slowly creeping into mid. Alibi and Lyco on the S plus and Dynamo respectively are going to try and get on the top mid. Alibi finds a kill. Alibi's looking for a second kill on Tropical. Going to have help from Doomgod on the Zipcast to get that. They're rushing Manga. Manga goes down. It's now or never for 7-Up. If they don't get a substantial push here, that might be it. They're going to score. They're going to break the shutout. Alibi has 7 clams. I believe they're on their dome there. We'll see if they can get all 7 of them in. The crab from Hao is going to get set up on top mid. They're going to dodge that stamp coming in from Ray Ray on the mini. Clams are going in, but not as much as you'd like if you're 7-Up. I think they have the potential to go a lot further than 65, but 65 is what they'll have to settle for here as we get into the final 2 minutes here of this game and potentially the tournament as a whole.
No Man's Reef Slide really taking advantage of how Dynamo does not move quickly. They were able to figure out where that Dynamo is going to go. They're setting up for their next push here, jumping in that power clam. They have some more. They'll need a few more clams, and they're down to 12. Just need 2 more. 1 more clam is all they need. Ray Ray does have clams in hand, but is not quite there to score. Manga has them in hand. Can they get them in? They're staring here. We are stuck, and we are disconnected.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Emoji Squad cannot replay this. They've gotten a 3. They was under 2 minutes. No shot they can replay this. And they were honestly robbed of a KO there. Manga should have gotten that last clam in. But no, 7-Up, they're rejuvenated. They were just a frame away from getting KO'd, and now they are pushing themselves. They're going to have a permanent numbers advantage for the rest of the game. Unfortunately, that push does not go anywhere, only getting 9 points. So 53 seconds left, that's plenty of time for 7-Up to do something. But if you're Emoji Squad, can you hold on with a member down? And another member disconnects. This time on the side of 7-Up. Any advantage, any momentum they might have had is completely squandered with that. Nintendo and their netcode is just taking over game 3 of this set. It's all chaos here.
The winner of this game is Nintendo, taking players out one by one. A Booyah coming out, forcing Manga to step back a little bit, but the cooler is out. We have about 20 seconds left to go. Not a whole lot of clams for 7-Up to work with, and they don't have a power clam form. They're going to start doing that now. They threw a bunch of clams onto the dome, but I think they broke just from Emoji Squad holding that for a little bit. Not a whole lot of time left to go. We don't have a power clam in hand for 7-Up. They're trying but not able, and it's a rough way to end a tournament, but that is how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Oh my god, I think like it was a game that was controlled by the Emoji Squad for a lot of it, but I mean, if you just look at the final score, that's one thing, but if just watching this game from start to finish, oh my god, just once those like 1.5 mark got reached with just not that much time remaining in the game, just all hell broke loose. DC comes first for the Emoji Squad. 7-Up has a 4v3 for a short period of time, and they aren't quite able to take advantage of it. But it doesn't even matter because they DC eventually too. And just because of that, I think Emoji Squad, they're able to coast the win. They win the set. They win the entire tournament. I mean, like, that was a crazy game itself. But first of all, congratulations to the Emoji Squad for winning FTAU number 97. It was a pretty dominant run, all things considered. Even though, as you saw, there were some ups and downs. But I think there were definitely a lot more ups. I think they played phenomenally today. So all credit goes to them here for winning a pretty stacked and pretty contested tournament all around.
Yeah, regardless of how that final game went, we saw how they played this tournament. They played well. They played off of each other. They had good individual plays. They had a good sense of when to hold that space and when to run in. And we really saw that in this final set. Well deserved for an FTIU win for them. Now, please pick a better team name.
Yes. No, I'll say their full team name once again for the people curious watching the stream, because you guys have just seen 3 squares the whole time. But their actual team name, it is just 3 emojis, those being the skull emoji, the neutral staring emoji, and the exhaling emoji. You know, I don't want to really say that all loud, but you know, they won. I'll give them some credit. I'll say their full name here. Not gonna say it again. Hope you guys wrote it down somewhere. But, you know, what they lack in naming skills that are friendly to commentators and to viewers at home, they surely make up for with their play. I think we saw a team that was just clicking and firing on all cylinders today, and it was really impressive watching them battle through some of the more tightly contested games and just running over, like, some of the more, like, games that, like, I think got out of hand relatively quickly.
And despite how things went for Vector Cry, we saw some really good plays from them as well, especially in earlier set where they did very well moving forward. And they didn't get the FTIU win this time, but they did get second. And sometimes for some teams, I know Catboy was telling me for Rainfall that
Yep.
sometimes you gotta get third, you gotta get second, and then you can get first.
Alright, yep, they'll be back. I think I was really impressed with what I saw from 7-Up today, especially on that quarterfinal sit that we casted there. And yeah, I mean, we'll have to keep an eye on them. I mean, maybe tune in 2 weeks from now, see if they can come back after getting so close, after tasting the glory of finals and not quite getting there. We'll see if they can redeem themselves. Keep an eye out for that 2 weeks from now. But for now, that's it for us. Caps off a wonderful edition of From the Ink Up, number 97. Again, very close to that 100. That'll be super fun when we finally get there. But yeah, Rose, where can the good people watching stream find you?
You can find me over on Blue Sky, Twitch.tv, YouTube, Instagram, all the various places. If I'm somewhere, generally I'm going to be at Rose of Battle. And how about you, DHVF?
You can find me on Blue Sky at dhvf28.bluesky.social. And I mean, I don't do a lot there, but if you want to find me, I am there to be found. So that's it for me. And that's it for us as a whole here at Under Pressure. Thank you so much for tuning in to an amazing edition of From the Ink Up. We will see you in 2 weeks for FTU number 98. Till then.